Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lab Rats Entertainment Podcast. My name is Ezra, and I'm joined by Sawyer and a new guest, Lucas. Lucas, can you say hi to the audience? Introduce yourself a little bit.
Hello, I'm Lucas Kraus. I'm a film production major at BGSU, and I was invited onto the podcast by Sawyer and Ezra, so
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy to be here.
Right, good to
Yes.
have you. We know Ahmad this week
Yes.
because he was occupado. but-
Yes, he's got lots of things happening this semester, so
He'll be in and out.
yes,
So
hopefully at least every other week he'll be on.
hopefully more in than out, but he'll
Yes.
be in and out.
Yes, eating burgers. This time we're doing something a little different just because it shakes out to be easier this way. So we're going to start with our 10-minute topics. Lucas, will you do us the honors?
Yeah, I would love to start it off. So, I guess earlier this week I watched this movie called 12 Monkeys that came out in 1995. It has Bruce Willis in it, Brad Pitt, for like some big name actors there. But it was directed by Terry Gilliam, which he directed Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
He was in Monty Python, did a lot of that stuff.
He did directed Brazil too. Didn't
Yeah,
he?
Brazil. I haven't seen that one, but that one,
I
a
wanna
lot of
check
people,
it out for sure.
yeah, a lot of people say that's like one of his best movies, and I just loved the movie. Like, I haven't seen a movie that made me feel that way in a while.
Yeah, I love the mystery of it. They never
Yeah.
fully explain
Yeah,
what exactly
there's
is.
there's kind of, and I mean, I just love movies that are like that, where it's just things are just kind of open-ended and
Yeah.
there's really no right or wrong answer. I think it just kind of brings up like interesting conversation with others to kind of like see what they thought about the movie and kind of their interpretation of it.
And Brad Pitt was great.
Oh yeah, he was crazy in that movie.
Literally.
Yeah, it was awesome though, and I was surprised by like the performance by Bruce Willis as well.
Right.
I mean,
It's before he started. He's before he stops trying. I
yeah,
guess.
exactly. But no, it was great. I mean, he just kind of played just this really confused character, and he wasn't like sure like what was real and like what was just in his imagination, and that kind of like carries over to just kind of the I don't know, just like the whole movie in general. And I mean, and just the set design I just
Yeah.
loved in that movie. I
It's
mean,
very. I guess I
Yeah.
don't even know how to describe it. Like it's not.
Yeah.
It's not really like most films. It's almost Burton-esque.
it
Like,
kind of is.
yeah.
I don't know. Well, I've seen a few of Terry Gilliam's other films. Like I've seen Time Bandits. I don't know. I've seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail, but I just think he just has an interesting style. And I just love just how lived in, but it almost feels like how the sets are, and just the props and everything. But it almost feels like it's like comic.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's real.
Yeah, like I think the way I would describe the set is it's like a cross between Mad Max and Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, it's
Like in
Okay.
terms of the way the world.
it really
That's
is.
an
It's kind of it's a bizarre movie, but it's really really interesting. And
They made a TV
Yeah.
show about it too. I think it ran for
Yeah,
3
Yeah,
I
seasons.
saw
it
that.
was a Showtime show.
I think it was on Sci-Fi.
yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I might have to check it out because I was a really big fan of this movie.
Yeah, I've heard the time travel is really slickly done. too.
It is,
it's-
You don't come away like Endgame where you have more questions than answers.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think time travel can be a difficult thing to do.
Definitely.
And whether it just be a book or movies or games, but I just thought it was just done so well in this.
Yeah.
I guess like the last time I really like experienced some story where it had time travel as like the main element of it was when I played the game Chrono Trigger.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Chrono Trigger. That's a great game.
Yeah, I really, really liked that game a lot. It's actually probably my favorite game. But just to get back on topic,
Yeah.
because I could talk about that game for hours.
Well, trust me, going off topic is kind of our
Yeah,
end.
that's our thing.
Yeah, but I don't know. I would highly recommend seeing the movie.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's great.
Okay.
I really, really liked it. I think it's probably like one of the best movies I've seen this year. I mean, of course,
Even
not
though it
saying
came out 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
But-
you saw it this year.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it is on Amazon Prime for
Oh, cool.
yeah. So if
For
anybody
US
has
at
that,
least, I don't
yeah,
know
for the
about
US, I'm not for sure about other places, but
And I think it's also based on an old short film.
Yeah, I did see that.
Because I remember
looked
watching
into
that
it a
short
little
film
bit.
in our applied aesthetics class.
Oh, really?
And then I was like,
Okay.
towards the end of it, I was like, that's kind of like 12 Monkeys. And
Yeah.
then later on, the professor said, well, later on, 12 Monkeys was a remake of this. I'm like, that's why I was like,
Yeah,
kinda like 12
I mean, I
Monkeys.
would like to see it.
Yeah.
Do you know, is it like on any like streaming service or like
It's
YouTube?
really difficult to find. It's
Yeah.
like it's black and white. I think it's French.
Okay, yeah, I
It's-
did see it was French.
There's barely any
yeah.
dialogue. It's very, very different from 12 Monkeys.
Gotcha.
It's just 12 Monkeys sort of adapts
Yeah, it's the core
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah. I know another movie that kind of did that. Actually, it was like adapted from a short story was The Thing.
Oh, yeah. Short story and then a 30s
Yeah,
film.
and then there was like a kind of a B monster movie for it, and then
Yeah.
then The Thing.
And
But-
then the prequel to the
yeah, and then there's the prequel to The Thing. So there's a whole line there of just different things.
The title gets shorter every time. The
Yeah,
thing that came
exactly.
from another world, the thing, and then just like thing.
Yeah,
Thing.
exactly.
Later on, it's
It's
gonna
very
have no title. It's just gonna be blank.
Yeah.
It's just,
Literally untitled.
just gonna be a picture of the monster, and it's just,
Yeah.
here you go.
Oh, I remember what else I was going to say about it. So the people who wrote the script, I can't remember their names for the life of me. They're actually the same writers for the original Blade Runner
Oh,
and
interesting.
the film Unforgiven that was directed by Clint
Interesting.
Eastwood.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I love both of those movies as well.
Yeah.
So
Kind of a star-studded production.
yeah,
Not just with Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt, but
yeah.
And very underrated. You don't hear anybody talking
No,
about
No.
Yeah, it's kind of I don't want to say it's a cult movie, but it kind of is.
I would argue it is.
Yeah.
it's sort of flown under the radar.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't occupy the same space that like Blade Runner.
Yeah.
But it also
Other
hasn't
sci-fi
hit
stuff.
like it hasn't hit cult status like a Fight Club or a Blade Runner. It's like
Yeah.
just below that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I was just really impressed by it. I
That's cool.
really enjoyed it.
Check it out on Prime.
Yeah. Amazon Prime. Sawyer, what's
Yeah.
your topic this
So
week?
going along with cult classics, I'm talking about Alan Wake.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a game from Remedy Entertainment for the exclusive to the Xbox 360 and PC.
Okay.
It is backwards compatible on Xbox One. That's how I played it.
Remedy, if you don't know, they recently put out Control.
Oh.
They also put out the first two Max Paynes and Quantum Break.
Yes.
Okay.
All of those have received critical acclaim.
The only one that I heard was a
Across the
bit
board.
iffy was Quantum Break, but I played a bit of
Yeah.
it and I enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
Remedy's one of my favorite devs. They've never really steered me wrong. The only issue I have with Alan Wake, before I get into what I liked about it, was this game, we'll probably talk about this later on in our main discussion, is there is a lot of product placement in this game.
Oh, okay.
So, like, one of the main mechanics is your flashlight, and
Yeah.
the batteries will die, and you have to replace the batteries. And
Okay.
every battery pack around the world you pick up is Energizer brand.
Oh, gotcha.
Or, like, and there's also, like, Verizon billboards and everything. So
Yeah.
it's,
That's funny. Now,
what I do think is interesting about that is it ties into the world. Like, if it was, like, real
Yeah.
life, you're gonna see that stuff everywhere.
yeah, that's interesting. That it's interesting whenever there is product placement and stuff. It's like, yeah, I mean, I would realistically, if I was living in the real world, I would see a Verizon billboard, or I would use like Duracell batteries. But
The
yeah,
only one that kind of broke the immersion is in the first DLC of the game. One of the important characters does the whole "Can you hear me now" thing from the old Verizon commercials when this
Oh.
game came out,
Okay.
and like it's still like subtle enough, but as long as you know what the commercial is,
Yeah.
then you're gonna notice
That's
it.
Yeah.
If he goes, "Can you hear me, Alan? Can you hear me now?" And I was like, "Oh no."
Yeah.
But other than that, it's not that intrusive. I didn't mind it. I actually had to look closely at the batteries to see they were Energizer. Otherwise,
Okay,
you don't
yeah.
even know.
yeah,
But yeah.
cool.
Uh,
So, anyways, what did you like about it?
So Alan Wake, you should probably describe what the game actually is.
Okay.
It was a pseudo horror game. It's kind of more of like an adventure horror game.
Okay.
It was about a writer named Alan Wake who comes to this Pacific Northwestern town. It's supposed to be like Washington State, Oregon, something like that.
Okay.
The game is really pretty. Also, that's even though it's like 10 years old, it's still a really nice looking
Yeah.
game. I think, and it's basically a lot of spooky things start happening.
Okay.
And I guess the catalyst is his wife gets taken by the darkness.
The Darkness.
Yes.
The
I
darkness.
can't. This game. It's complicated. The story doesn't make a ton of sense on face value. You have to really dig into it. There's also a lot of confusing stuff going on.
Okay.
It's real. I just love the world they set up. That's the best part. Is it sets up a very realistic and like lived in world.
Okay.
You want to keep seeing more. I wouldn't say all the characters are likable, but they feel like real people.
Yeah.
It's not like I am the hero and I am the bad guy. Like they're just.
Yeah. They're
Alan Wake is
complicated.
like got good in moments and bad moments.
Yeah.
And I love the Pacific Northwest look that it had. They get that if there's one thing this game nails, it's atmosphere.
Okay.
The main mechanics is even though it's a third-person shooter, it's not a standard third-person shooter. So all of these characters are called, like the bad guys are called the Taken, and the darkness has taken them over.
Okay.
And in order to be able to eliminate them, you have to shine a flashlight on them that you have for long enough until the like darkness shroud goes away, and then you can shoot at them.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
So it's kind of like you gotta, and bigger enemies will take longer to have the flashlight eliminate the darkness shield.
Yeah.
In typical video game fashion.
Yeah.
And it's the combat, it can get a bit repetitive. I didn't love how repetitive the combat got, but what I thought was interesting is it's not just constant waves.
Yeah.
And it's not all just like typical horror games where it's just like, there they are, jump scare noise, and then you take them out.
Yeah.
It's sometimes, like if you're in a cabin in the woods, you'll see one of these guys just walk past the window and there's no jump scare noise.
Interesting.
Like, it's just the atmosphere they build
Yeah.
up. It's not just a
Yeah.
lot of cheap jump. It's
Yeah.
I mean, there are jump scares in it, but
Yeah.
it's not the point of the game.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I highly recommend checking it out. It was available free on the Epic Games Store like 2 weeks ago, but it's still available on PC. There's also, I should note, that there's a extended DLC. I guess it's not really even a DLC. It's a expansion called Alan Wake's American Nightmare. It was released as an Xbox Live Arcade game, so it's technically not Alan Wake 2, but it's also technically not Alan Wake 1 DLC.
Interesting.
It's kind of like a spin-off side game, but it takes place after the main game.
All right.
And what's cool about that one is they nail atmosphere again, from going from a Pacific Northwest and like, I guess, how would I describe it? Like psychological horror thing, to being like your old pulp drive-in monster movie aesthetic that they had in like the 50s and 60s, and they move it to Arizona, New Mexico, like that kind of area. So it's interesting. They can be a bit cheesy, and they also have some live-action footage in the American Nightmare.
Interesting.
Gotcha.
And you can very much tell how, like, because Quantum Break had the TV show. You could see the early ideas for Quantum Break when you're playing this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I always think that that's something that Remedy seems to be really interested in, is like, how can we make games like I think a lot of developers are trying to find ways to make players more invested in like the characters that they're making.
Yeah.
And I think the way that Remedy has tried to do that, especially with Quantum Break, was by just padding out the story with the TV stuff to where you just get a ton of just stuff with these characters. And I think I think it really depends on the person whether or not you like that, but I think it's interesting to see the development of Remedy over time. I don't know exactly what Control's deal is. I don't know if it's
I
just
want
a
to play
game
it,
or
but
not.
I haven't.
But
I
yeah,
don't believe there's a TV show aspect.
yeah.
But I did. Speaking of Control, there's a rumor that, looking at the roadmap of DLC they have for Control, their, I think, third expansion is called it was like AWE, because like in the world of Control, apparently it's called Altered World Event, but people are also thinking it stands for Alan Wake Experience because within the letters, the top half of the letters is like very reminiscent of the box art for the original Alan Wake, of like the guy standing with the flashlight in like this bluish woods, and the bottom is Jesse from Control in red. So it could be a crossover, especially since they mention Alan Wake and elements of that game in Control.
Yeah.
Interesting.
See, I think that would be kind of cool if they actually link the universes together.
Yeah.
Because I know games like, or I should say game developers, they like to put in Easter eggs of like other games they've developed.
Yeah.
A big one I can think of was Doom 2016. There were just lots of Easter eggs for like different Bethesda games. I mean, there was like the skeleton, and there was like the guy with the Skyrim helmet, and he had an arrow in his knee. There was like the Vault like logo from Fallout like on one of the doors, like the first level. But I mean, of course, those are just Easter eggs. Those aren't like actual like
canon.
This is like this is in the same universe.
Yeah,
but I think that'd be kind of interesting.
And
like,
I think
taking that role.
they could now because they announced that I think it was for $2 million that Remedy bought the rights to Alan Wake from Microsoft because it was originally an Xbox exclusive. But they have the rights now.
Okay.
So they could very well theoretically re-release it on PS4 and Xbox One.
That would be really cool. I always love when they kind of like break the I guess like the gap between like console exclusives and just I mean that's happened I think quite often, just like
it's happening more now than
there's games from like the PS2 like these were only on the PS2 but now they're on just everything and everybody can play them.
I think that I think what's interesting about that is that you're starting to see a lot of like bigger developers break off from their publishers. So like we saw that with Bungie. Remedy isn't owned by anybody.
It used before, like a couple weeks ago, Insomniac used to be that way. They're not anymore, but they used to be. Well, and there's also Epic Games, Gears of War originally, they developed exclusive for the Xbox.
Yeah.
Now it's a different developer who's owned by Microsoft, but Epic Games is solo now.
Yeah, and like indie developers are starting to get a lot bigger budgets.
Yeah.
Just as a result of the success that they've had. So you're starting to see like developers who had ownership or like who were owned by somebody who owns their franchises start to get those franchises back. I mean, we're never going to see Bungie get Halo back. But
that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's never going to happen.
Unfortunately.
But the
or Gears. Gears is not going back to Epic.
Gears isn't going back to Epic. And Epic just has too much stuff now. But like Epic now has Fortnite and League of Legends, right? Like they've just got tons of.
I completely forgot they had League of Legends.
Yeah.
I didn't know that to begin with.
You forget about that, yeah. Well, it's Epic has League of Legends and Blizzard has everything else.
Pretty much.
I
highly recommend checking out Alan Wake. If you've got an Xbox One, it is backwards compatible.
Oh, that's cool.
If you have an Xbox 360, it's obviously in there, and it is on PC. You can get it on the Epic Games Store, but I know some people are adamantly against that. So I think it's available on, I believe it's on the Microsoft Windows Store.
Oh, okay.
It could be. Okay. I don't think it's on Steam. It might be. I don't know.
Okay, I think it was on Steam for a while, but I think they took it off.
Okay.
I want to say. Yeah. So
well, I know it's available. I think on multiple platforms. The only one I know for sure is Epic Games because I got it for free on there.
Nice.
I highly recommend.
Yeah.
And Ahmad, if you're listening, you would love it.
He would love a lot of things that we recommend.
That's true.
So my topic this week is kind of a continuation of last week's. So we talked about trading card games last week. This week I'm talking about trading card video games. And I think the way I'm going to start that is just by posing the question to you. Have you guys played any of those? Whether it's like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Adaptation for console or DS or something, or like Hearthstone, stuff like that?
Yeah. I've played I've played a little bit of Hearthstone, but barely enough where I can like form an opinion on it.
Okay.
However, the one I did get into was Magic the Gathering Arena, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's what it's
Yeah,
called.
the newest one. And I personally really liked the game. I think it's pretty... they don't... Well, how should I word this? They don't, like, cram the monetization down your throat.
Yeah.
Like, you can build a decent collection from the
Yeah.
game by just playing the game.
You don't have to spend $5 a pack if you don't want
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean that's how Magic's always been. I've played the physical card game quite a bit. I don't play it anymore mostly because it's just too expensive for me. But I mean that's how you get more cards is when new sets come out you have to buy them.
Yeah.
But this game it's kind of nice because I think you just have everything there. You don't have to worry about like, oh, where did I put like this deck of cards
Yeah.
or something. Like it's just all
Where
there.
are my tokens?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
And what's also nice is, let's say if you have a couple of decks, and you have like cards, like the same cards in each of those decks, you don't have to worry about like, oh, if I'm going to use this deck, I have to pull those cards out of my other
yeah.
deck because it's all just there.
Yeah.
And
That's pretty cool.
yeah, I think it's worth playing. I don't play it anymore, unfortunately, mostly because of time.
Yeah.
But
Those games can eat up a bit of
yeah,
time.
Yeah.
I would just like be like, all right, I have homework to do tonight, but I think I'm gonna play a few rounds of Magic, and that turns into about 2 hours of me sitting in front of my computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have Gwent, the Witcher card game.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about
I have
that
not
one,
played
yeah.
that one yet, but I would
I've
like
got
to.
it on my PS4. I haven't even touched it, but I have it on my PS4. And I know I was tempted to try that Uncharted Fight for Fortune card game that came out on the Vita.
Oh yeah.
There was an
I think,
Uncharted
yeah.
trading card game for the Vita, and I
That's
was
right.
like, I could, but I'd much rather have Golden Abyss.
Did you actually buy a Vita?
Yeah, I love my Vita.
Wow.
He collects consoles.
Yeah,
so-
for those of you
Yeah.
at home who don't know, I collect old retros and modern systems.
Yeah,
and
gotcha.
the Vita is highly underrated, unpopular opinion.
I don't think that anybody would actually disagree with you. I think the problem is
Yeah.
that
I
the,
think
the
the sales
library is
disagree.
just
Yeah.
the library is just a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like it's
I mean, there's only like a couple of games that would interest me on the Vita,
Yeah.
but
That is the downside. Is like
yeah.
the system is great, but a lot of the
Yeah.
games are JRPGs or like
Yeah.
obscure Japanese games.
Yeah.
yeah.
If
it's
you're
like,
looking
it's
for
like a ton of visual novels
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
a
I
lot
know,
of visual
yeah,
novels and
those are
JRPGs. However,
Yeah.
if you like Lego games, it's a great platform to play Lego games. There was a Metal Gear Solid HD collection that
Yeah,
had
I
Metal
did-
Gear Solid 2, 3, and the original 2.
The
on it.
weekly Kojima
Yeah.
appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's great on there, and the original MSX2 games are in that pack, and they play great on the Vita.
Okay. The one that I was really interested in with the Vita was Persona 4 Golden,
Yeah, me
which
too.
just recently I've really got into the Persona franchise. I over Christmas break I played Persona 5.
Oh, did you?
I did finally beat it, and it took me about 133 hours, I think, to beat it.
I think it took me 80, but I didn't do
Yeah.
everything.
Mhm.
So that's
But they,
probably- yeah.
Well, I'll talk more about
Yeah.
Vita when we get to State of Gaming.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
card games, Gwent, I'll probably take a look at later, and Fight for Fortune, maybe. But other than that, I haven't really touched a
Yeah.
lot of them.
The one that so that I've played like a ton of these just over time.
Mhm.
I'm always a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh video games for
Yeah.
some reason. Like I played a lot of the DS 5D's 2011 game, I think it was. That game was a ton of fun. The new one that came out recently, I picked up, and it's pretty cool. My one issue with it is that it's literally just a ton of menus. So it's like you basically menu through everything, and then you play the game, and then it's just more menus. Whereas some of the old games had more of like an overworld, and you could talk to characters and stuff like that. Like, so I miss that a little bit, but it's still fun, and it's got that like, it's got some of the cool stuff where it's like some of the more iconic monsters that you summon. It'll play like a little cinematic for them. So I for $40, I think it's pretty cool because you get to you don't immediately have access to every card in the game because you have to actually collect them. But you, for $40, you get every card that's been released up until I don't know when, but you get every card that's been released up until they sort of cut it off, and then you get access to those, and then just a ton of single player stuff and multiplayer, which is pretty cool. I've played a little bit of the Pokemon card games online component.
Okay.
And it's pretty neat. What I've always liked about digital card games is the way that they simplify the process. Because whenever I played the Pokemon trading card game back in the day, I always felt kind of tedious.
Yeah,
just because
I barely played it, but I played a couple of games of it, and there's
Yeah.
definitely a lot going on in it.
Yeah, and there's just like, it's a relatively simple game at its core. The problem is that there are just like a ton of components to
Yeah.
it because you have like 5 like slots for just backup Pokemon and then your main Pokemon.
Yeah.
And then you have like a ton of tokens that you have to put
Yeah.
on your Pokemon and coin flipping, just a ton of stuff you have to do.
Yeah.
So when you make a digital version of that,
Yeah.
the game just automates all of that for you, and so
Gotcha.
you just play the game. There's none of the like housekeeping that normally goes into playing really any trading card game. And so I thought that was fun. I haven't played really any Hearthstone. I know a lot of people like it, a lot of people don't like it. Like it's
I've heard
it's sort
good
of
things about it.
Yeah, it's sort of famous for being kind of the first one in I would say a new wave of like free to play digital card games. The one I've played probably the most of, I have 100 hours of it on Steam and probably at least another 100 or so on iOS. Shadowverse, which is if you don't know Cygames, they're huge in Japan. They're not so much over here.
Yeah.
But they released probably their most famous product is Granblue Fantasy. It's a mobile game.
Never heard of that one.
I think I have heard of it, but I have not played it.
There's an anime of it. You could watch it on Crunchyroll. I'm personally a big fan of the aesthetic because it's got that kind of like it's the kind of fantasy, like anime fantasy that I like, where it's like just enough like it sort of blends the two styles together in a really neat way. So you've got like elves and traditional fantasy monsters in that very anime art style.
You don't want to forget about, if we're talking elves and fantasy art style and card games, Elder Scrolls Arena. Or not Arena, Elder Scrolls, what's it called? Arena's the original game. I'm thinking of Elder Scrolls.
Oh, are you talking about the MMO or the card game?
The card game.
I think it's Legends.
Elder Scrolls Legends. They always have such simple names for a lot of these. Legends, Arena,
But Cygames, anyways, just going back to Shadowverse for a second. What I think is interesting about Shadowverse is that when I went and watched very little Hearthstone footage, and I compared it with Shadowverse, what I thought was really interesting was that like it's not the same game. Like there are very obvious differences, but the the sort of systems that are used are different, are kind of adapted for each other. So like both have like when you start out, you can only play cards that cost a certain amount and stuff like that. So I thought that was interesting. But Shadowverse, I really like. It's fast. Like it's 5 to 10 minutes per game. Like it's rare for a game to go on 20 minutes in a Shadowverse game. It's also fully voiced. I think Hearthstone is too.
I'm not totally sure about that.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about it either.
And it's got it has a complete English dub. If you're not accounting for all of the collaborations that they do, like some of the anime collaborations will have the English dub of the characters, but the some of the I'm trying to think like they recently had a collab with the Love Live Idol anime, and they're all voiced in Japanese, so it's just depending on like how much work they put into the English dub sometimes. But yeah, it's fully voiced in English. Some of the characters are really charming.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'd recommend at least giving it a try. And
Okay.
I might.
it's also it's on iOS, Google Play, PC. I think it's actually very pretty on PC. And
PC is in Steam or
yeah, it's on Steam. Yeah, it's on Steam.
Okay.
You can't get it through anywhere else.
So, I'm guessing it's like Hearthstone, where it's just like your progress both on PC and mobile is the same, right?
Yeah, you can
Just-
link.
okay.
You can link your progress together. So if you
Gotcha.
want to
Yeah.
play a little bit on mobile, you
Yeah.
can. I prefer playing with a mouse and
Yeah.
keyboard, but it's
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
something I just wish more like multiplayer games would
Yeah.
do. Is just having just like, okay, you have your account, and no matter what platform you play on, you're gonna have the same
It's there.
progress.
Yes.
And as much as I'm not a big fan of the game, is Fortnite.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does that well.
It does
They
that,
do
yeah.
that very well. I played it just a little bit because I'm like, might as well,
Yeah.
Try
hop
it. It's
on the
huge, yeah.
craze, And I originally played it on PC, but then like I got a Switch a couple months after that. I'm like, okay, I'll try on the Switch, and I had the same progress. I mean, I only maybe played the game for about an hour tops, but
Yeah.
I just thought it was just really cool having all your stuff together. One game that I really wanted them to do that with was Diablo 3 when they brought it to Switch.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
They
I
probably should've
played
done that.
a lot of Diablo 3 on my computer, and I'm just, I was like, I can't remember what Paragon level I was. It was pretty high, and I was just like, I might pick this up on Switch because, I mean, it'd be cool to just play this
Yeah.
game on the go, but,
Yeah.
I'd
You
have to
don't
start
carry
completely
your-
over, and
yeah.
I'm just like, I don't want to do that
Because
because
it takes
I
forever.
put like hundreds of hours in this
Yeah.
game.
The flow is completely different from the start than it is at the
Yeah,
end.
exactly.
Like, that should be something that's more commonplace now, because like
Yeah.
Warframe, when it first
Yeah.
launched on Switch, you could carry over progress from
Yeah.
PC to it, but it was only a limited window.
Gotcha.
Like in that game, I've dabbled in it a little bit on my PS4.
Uh-huh.
It's all right, but
Yeah.
I would settle, like, say what you will about cross play. I would settle for cross progression for most
Yeah.
games. Like,
Yeah.
even if
Yeah.
it means I can't play with other people, let me take the
Yeah,
progress
exactly.
from Xbox or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, games have been doing cross save for a really long time. The problem is that, like, how do you... Like, I think the problem is that, like, without, like, a centralized account,
Mhm.
it seems to be that, like... Because Bungie has recently moved to Steam for Destiny.
That's right, yeah.
And they're doing cross save. I think in part because I think that there's you have a Bungie account that it
I'm pretty
ties
sure.
to.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Is it like a limited window thing where it's like you only have so much time to migrate your
It very well could
Destiny
be.
2
I
from
don't-
Blizzard to Steam?
I don't know about Blizzard to Steam. I
Yeah.
do know that once you own it on Steam, you can. If you own it on the other consoles, you can transfer it if you
Gotcha.
want.
Right.
So my question is, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but do you have to buy Destiny 2 on Steam in order to migrate
Well,
your progress?
Yes.
But it
Really?
would be interesting because I thought they were going free to play with Destiny 2.
Okay, so here's
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but you
Yeah.
would probably still have to buy like the expansions and stuff.
yeah.
Maybe. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
well,
yeah.
To play certain content, you would have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder how that works though, because they're going free to play.
Yeah.
So if you own a copy of D2 on PlayStation 4 with like all of the stuff, and then you migrate it to PC.
Does that stuff come with it?
Like, do you just get locked out of certain guns? Is that how it works?
I'm
like,
not-
It's
Well, my question is like, so you guys said you have to like, so like let's say, because I had Destiny 2 on Blizzard, and
okay.
I mean, I really liked the first Destiny, but I didn't like Destiny 2, and so I didn't really play it too much. I mean, I played it like a decent amount, but I mean, I guess I'm not too worried about this. So like, if you were, because I know now that Destiny 2 is coming to Steam, are they taking Destiny 2 off of Blizzard?
I would say that's going to be really difficult legally to do.
Yeah.
Because then people who don't want to move to Steam would
Yeah.
just be screwed out of being able to play their game they
Okay.
bought.
All right.
So I would bet it stays there, but I doubt it's going to get any of the updates.
Mm.
It probably
Yeah.
would just stay static.
So like so I guess if you want to play Destiny 2 like on PC and get the full experience, you have to buy it again on Steam.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
This was going to take more research.
Yeah,
for me.
I don't
yeah.
know. I haven't been keeping up with Destiny.
Yeah,
news.
I haven't either.
I've always been interested in it because I love Halo. I've always
Yeah.
been interested in trying it.
I think it's the first one is worth a play if you really want to. I really liked Destiny 2's campaign.
Yeah,
from
that
the
was
start.
one thing I did like a lot better with Destiny 2 is the campaign was much better.
So
but
is like if I go, because you guys know I'm not much of a multiplayer person.
Yeah.
If I was to go into Destiny for the story, is the story good enough to justify getting Destiny?
no.
Okay.
I'm just gonna straight up say no. It is. I don't know.
I'll be a little bit more nuanced and just say that it's worth it if you're willing to sit down and read stuff rather than like experience.
Okay,
the
I guess
story.
that is true.
Like, because
Yeah,
there is
a
some
lot of
really
lore.
there is some really neat lore.
Mhm.
Like they like whoever's written the lore out has really thought a lot of this stuff through.
Yeah.
But it's just like a lot of it is not forward facing.
Yeah.
So like you
it's
have to
just-
dig. It's not
Yeah.
like in
Yeah.
cutscenes or anything. Okay.
I do think the Destiny lore is very interesting. I haven't like looked into it too much because I mean, I mostly play Destiny 1 just to shoot a bunch of things and get a better
Yeah.
gun.
It's a looter shooter, right?
Yeah, it is. A lot of people say it's kind of like Borderlands and Halo put together.
It seems
Yeah,
about
it's
right.
it.
Yeah.
I would say it's probably a little bit closer to Borderlands
Yeah.
meets Star Wars because
Yeah,
it's
that
like
too.
it's got like space magic. And,
Yeah.
Okay, so like
Yeah.
it's your typical nerdy
Yeah.
nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
essentially.
it like the ships all look exactly like Star Wars ships. Like there's it's
Mhm.
but it all takes place in the solar system, not just
Sounds like
on
Warframe,
Naboo.
honestly.
Yeah, a lot of people compare Warframe and Destiny
Yeah, they are very
together.
similar.
And I know with Destiny 2, a lot of people flocks to Warframe
Mm.
because
Interesting. I didn't know.
I don't know. I personally have not played Warframe, but I would like to try
And
it.
it's free.
It is free to play.
Yeah, which is
Well, we have gone completely
Yes,
off topic.
off topic. But that's okay.
That's what we do here.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
what happens.
So-
So now it's our news topic time.
Yeah.
So Sawyer, can you start us off with
So-
some pretty big breaking news?
Breaking
Yeah.
news came out only about an hour before we started recording.
Yes.
I saw an article, according to Digital Spy, I believe it was, that Spider-Man is back in the MCU.
For one more ride.
So it's Kevin Feige will be producing the third film in the Tom Holland series, completing that trilogy,
Mhm.
and the deal was they get Kevin Feige comes on and produces. They get to use MCU characters and ideas and canon and all that,
Mhm.
and Marvel gets him for one more movie in the MCU.
Oh, okay. So they're making one more Spider-Man movie.
One more Tom Holland MCU Spider-Man, and
And then-
he has one more appearance in an MCU movie.
Interesting.
Okay.
We don't know what MCU movie that's going to be. We just know he gets to appear in
Yeah.
one more. I would bet they'll wait a couple years and put him in the next Avengers.
Civil War 2.
Oh.
Like
There we go.
I'm actually kind of serious about that because
They very well could.
There,
Yeah.
Civil War, in Cap Civil War, they didn't adapt everything from the original comics, and one of the
Yeah.
biggest things that was missing was the Spider-Man drama.
Oh yeah,
Be-
yeah.
because
that's right.
like he's just sort of on Team Iron
Yeah.
Man, and that I really liked him in Civil
Yeah.
War, but it was
very different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't have any of the sort of Spider-Man like switching sides.
They also didn't
and
have
stuff
access
like
to
that.
nearly as many characters as
Yeah.
they did
Yeah.
in the original
That's
comic.
true. Yeah.
That would be interesting though if they did make a Civil War 2.
Yeah.
And
It's one of my favorite moments
There it is.
in Marvel history is when the
Yeah.
Punisher's carrying Spider-Man. Like, you know what I'm talking about? When like
I don't remember that.
in the Spider-Man in that Civil War comic, Spider-Man gets like wounded pretty bad, and the Punisher saves him and like carries him to Captain America.
Oh,
or
that's
something.
cool. Yeah, I've never like read really any of the Marvel comics, but I've seen
Yeah.
most of the movies.
I've read the Civil War mainline comic and then the Spider-Man Civil War comic.
Like, if you're a fan of the MCU or Marvel in general, and you really like Civil War, pick up the graphic novel of the Civil War storyline.
it's-
It's very different.
It's very different, and I would say very disappointing.
I kind of liked the
I didn't like the ending
of the comic or the movie.
of the comic.
It's been so long, I don't remember the.
He
end.
turns himself in.
Cap.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's like, there's literally like a whole thing where he's like looking at all the destruction, and he's like, and like he eventually like holds out his hands to be cuffed or something like that, and Spider-Man's like, "What are you doing? We're winning," and he goes, "Yes, we are. Everything except the argument," and then we walk, and I was like, "All right." Nope, that's not how it's
Well,
supposed
I think
to end.
in also, I mean, we're already off topic again,
Yeah.
but I know there was a part in the comic where I think he gets, like, in a follow-up comic, he gets killed by Dr. Faustus
Yeah,
or something.
and then Winter Soldier takes over, and
That's a whole other thing, though.
yes.
Anyway,
that's an entire.
he's
thing.
back in the MCU for
Yes.
at least one more solo movie and one more appearance, likely going to be in a couple of years when we get whatever the next Avengers is.
Do you
Or next team-up thing.
Mhm.
do you think that Spider-Man dies in his MCU appearance then?
I don't think so, because that would piss off Sony.
Yeah.
Especially since I know they're going to want to keep it going. I think they'll find a way to write him out.
Yeah.
Either write him out in that appearance, or now I could just see this deal as being a temporary thing of saying, hey, let's just see how this goes, rather than doing a whole re-up for 3 and 3 like they did in the last.
Oh yeah.
I see this as basically saying, let's just take it one film each at a time, and then we'll
yeah.
keep going from there.
That
But
makes sense.
it's interesting. This is the first time I've ever seen Disney fold on something, because they came back, and originally what Disney wanted was they wanted a 50-50 split in terms of profits on top of Disney already owning merchandising rights. People were saying this was Sony's fault, but actually when you look at it,
Yeah.
It was Disney's
more
fault.
Disney's fault.
I don't blame Marvel Studios, I blame Disney, because
Yeah.
Disney is the distributor. It's not
Yeah,
Marvel's
yeah.
fault.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige probably had very little say in any
No.
of this.
Disney wanted 50-50 split of the profits, even though Sony was essentially getting
Yeah.
the... I mean, the legal stuff is all weird, but essentially Disney gets 25% of the profits on top of merchandising. Sony gets 75%, and I believe Disney foots the bill for making the movie.
Interesting.
Hmm.
So Disney's probably still making billions of dollars off of this
Yeah.
movie,
of
but,
course, yeah.
but,
Well,
you know.
Disney's not distributing. They're,
Sony's distributing.
Sony distributes, Disney foots the bill for production.
Interesting. Well, but
And-
then they get tons
And
of money off of merchandising.
They get merchandising, and they get 25% of the first dollar gross. So,
Hmm.
and they also don't control home video, I don't believe, except for that big box set they're doing that's going to
Yeah.
include those. But
the
Infinity
Saga.
Yeah.
The trailer for that is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I did watch the.
I'm
the
just
trailer
glad
for
that we get him back in the MCU at least
Yes.
for something more, because I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man,
Yes.
and I would honestly say in like a perfect world, his third one we get team up with Matt Murdock as like his lawyer.
Oh no!
I would love that.
Wouldn't it be funny if it was like they tied in like somehow they did like a reference to the Sony Spider-Man deal,
Oh, yeah.
and it was like Matt Murdock is his lawyer.
That'd be pretty
in the
great.
Sony
Yeah.
Spider-Man deal.
I think with the whole thing that's Far From Home set up, getting Matt Murdock as like his lawyer in Spider-Man 3, and then his team-up appearance is we get Spider-Man in a Fantastic Four reboot or something like that.
Oh, that would be
like,
sick.
That was my
Like
dream
his
for what we could
his
do.
best friend is Johnny Storm,
Or
and
something
so-
like that.
Yeah,
Like, I think that would be really interesting.
that'd be
Yeah.
pretty cool. Do you think? Was it Fantastic
Fantastic?
Four? No, was it Fantastic Four that was like on the on the top of the list when the Fox deal went through. Was it?
In
Was
terms
that
of
it?
like what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
I'm betting it is because I think
Yeah.
X-Men's gonna take a breather before
Yeah,
they do
X-Men-
that. They're
Yeah.
gonna-
After Dark Phoenix, I bet Disney's very cautious about
Yeah.
doing another X-Men.
From what I've heard, though, they're thinking about introducing Xavier and Magneto early before they start an X-Men spinoff,
which is pretty
which
pretty
would make
cool
sense.
idea.
Like if they have Xavier pop up in like a supporting role in a
Yeah.
I don't know where it pop up.
a random Captain Marvel
I mean,
movie.
Maybe pops up in WandaVision. That could very well make sense.
Ooh.
Or Doctor Strange.
Man, are you about to make Doctor Strange 2 even more exciting for me?
I know this is slightly tangent, but it's still in the MCU. What do you guys think of the rumored casting for Xavier and Magneto?
Xavier was who?
I don't remember exactly, but I know for Magneto, they were thinking of Denzel Washington.
Denzel.
I think Denzel could kill it. However,
it's kind of typecasting.
yeah,
if
my
you think
only
about it.
issue is I'm so adjusted to Ian McKellen and
Yeah.
the backstory that his character had
and Michael Fassbender.
that changing Magneto's backstory from that, they're going to have to be very careful.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they probably could use an update because, as you pointed out,
Yeah.
believing that Magneto was still that age during World War II and is still in the modern day somehow able to be
Yeah.
that, it's like, it's a little bit iffy.
Yeah.
But, and so if they update it, I could see them updating it, especially for the modern era.
Yeah.
Unless they find some kind of comic booky excuse. But,
Yeah.
I mean, it also would make the parallels of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X even more on the nose.
It would.
But,
That's the one problem that I have is that like these characters are already obviously Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Like there's no denying it.
yeah.
And
I mean, Stan Lee's had even said
yeah,
that.
like
You know about that, Lucas?
is
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
it's the whole point.
Yeah, Professor X and Magneto were basically meant to be allegories for Martin Luther King and Malcolm X in terms of like
Huh.
peace and understanding versus force.
Yeah.
And it was,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's kind of interesting though. I mean, I just think it's kind of interesting. I mean, I know like a lot of just fictional characters are just like based off of like real
Yeah.
people, and I think it's kind
I'm
of.
going to be interested to see where they go with the X-Men. I think it's going to be a while.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
But-
we're not getting something until
Yeah.
at least 2025, if not later.
Oh, yeah.
It's
for
going to be
sure.
2027, I bet. Like,
Yeah,
you're not
it's
getting
gonna
it for
it's
a
gonna
while.
be a hot minute.
2050.
Well, isn't there like the rumored like casting for Wolverine as Keanu Reeves?
I would love that if it
That would
That'd
be
be pretty
fantastic.
I say
That'd be
either him or
pretty cool.
Carl Urban, but I don't think
Oh,
Carl Urban's a big
yeah.
enough name.
You know,
Yeah.
what was the last thing that Carl Urban was in?
He was in The
Star
Boys.
Trek.
Uh,
Well, yeah, The Boys and Star Trek.
Yeah. Okay.
Also,
I loved him in Star Trek.
Give me a
Yeah.
Dread 2. Give me a
Yes.
Dread 2 of Carl Urban.
Let me tell you, the first Dread is seriously, I think, one of the best action movies
It's
that's
great.
ever made.
It's basically a sci-fi version of The Raid. Like the
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I did watch The Raid recently too, and they're very identical.
Yeah, I've heard the raid's pretty cool. For
Yeah, The
action
Raid's really
stuff.
good.
But
So
an MCU,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, he's back.
Yeah.
I'm hyped.
Yes, very exciting.
Hopefully,
Also, hopefully more J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson.
I would bet
Yes,
that's almost guaranteed.
please.
That
They probably
and
handed him a
Yeah.
massive check
They
for
probably
that.
they should keep re-upping this. Like,
Yes.
if we don't get him in MCU appearances, like in team-ups,
Yeah,
I'm honestly fine with that. I just want more solo films in the MCU.
yeah. I want like I just want more of this cast.
Yeah.
Is mainly my thing.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
the Nick Fury I think is great in Far From Home, and I really liked the MCU stuff that they did.
Mhm.
But I think what's more important is like Tom Holland, Zendaya. Who's the guy who plays Ned?
Jacob Batalon.
Him.
Yeah.
And then the people who play the teachers. I don't remember their names.
Martin Starr and GB Smoove, I think.
Yeah.
Also, Hannibal Buress was great in Homecoming. You should bring him back.
Yes,
in
they
the
should
third
bring
one.
it back.
He was the gym teacher in Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Although
Oh yeah, that's right.
there's probably a very large chance that they don't have any school stuff in the next movie.
That's very possible.
Like Ned will probably be in it, and
It could be called like Spider-Man Senior Year or something.
something like that. No, it's gonna have home in the title.
Yeah.
It could, yeah.
It'll be it's not. What's that? House arrest. Spider-Man house
House
arrest.
Arrest.
Spider-Man house arrest. I would see that.
Yeah.
Just him sitting there playing video games with Ned.
Exactly. It's the
But-
entire movie.
I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah.
Give
It's very exciting.
Give me more, and I think what would be interesting, like story trajectory wise, was rather than having him, because they've always kind of had this whole arc about him being in the shadow of Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Have him finally, like the resolution at the end of the third one, be moving on from that.
Yeah.
And what I
Yeah.
think is interesting is normally in the Spider-Man comic books and stuff like that, he starts off as your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and then you get this galactic comic booky
Yeah.
weirdness. They flipped it. They're starting with the galactic comic booky weirdness, and then he's becoming
Yeah.
that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
So-
disagree. I'm still holding on to hope that all of this is just a prequel to the Spider-Man PS4 game.
What I think
but,
is so
you know.
great about this is we're finally. I think he's gonna be like learning how to be the
Yeah.
Spider-Man that we
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
And then by the end of this third movie, he'll become that, which is a good segue
Yeah.
of saying he's graduated beyond Tony Stark. That way, they don't have to reference him
Yeah,
if the deal doesn't
like
go
he-
through in
yeah,
the fourth
he
one.
doesn't have to. He doesn't have to be in Tony Stark's shadow anymore.
No, he can be his own character, which I think is a great trajectory for the story and as a caution in case the deal doesn't
Yes.
go through.
Yeah.
And if you want to put him in appearance in the MCU, I'd say if he's going to be a team up, it's going to be a while before we get another Avengers, so
Yeah.
it's not going to be that. But if they're going to put him in one, put him in a Fantastic Four reboot because he's already friends with Fantastic Four, and they should have the Fantastic Four already established and flash back to
Yeah.
their powers. They should start as already being existing
in the world. Yeah. I don't disagree with you on that.
Because it's gonna find like another way to say like, why don't they just join the Avengers? Like, you know, find another way.
Yes.
Or it could also be very cool if they use the old Avengers Tower as Baxter Building. That could be really cool.
That'd be pretty. That'd be pretty neat. I don't know if. It's kind of up in the air. Fantastic Four. I have no idea whether or not they're even gonna do it. Because the movies have gotten such a bad rap.
Oh,
over
yeah.
time.
You know, I
Like-
think that's from what I've heard in rumors from Kevin Feige is like this is their big
Yeah.
one that they want. Like after
their
the Fox
baby.
deal, this is the one
Yeah.
they wanted. Like X-Men, there I'm sure they're happy about,
Yeah.
but Fantastic Four is what they wanted.
Yeah.
Because
You're telling me that they didn't want X-Men?
They wanted it. Like I think the big thing is since
Yeah.
Marvel's going cosmic now with Captain Marvel,
Yeah.
Eternals, Guardians of the Galaxy, stuff like that, they're gonna want the space oriented stuff, and Fantastic Four is a great bridge between the Earth based stuff
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the cosmic stuff.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you on that. So, Spider-Man, very
He's back.
exciting.
Yes.
Welcome home, Spidey.
Yes.
Speaking of which, complete side note, did you see what Tom Holland posted on Instagram
Oh,
today?
no. What did he post?
It was a clip from Wolf of Wall Street of the "I'm not leaving" scene from Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
That's funny.
It was.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was just like, "Yes!" in the comments.
Yeah,
Yes.
that sounds great.
Oh man, good for him. I'm really I'm more happy for like the people in the production than I am for the MCU.
Yeah, I'm not like, "Yay,
Yeah.
Disney gets more money." Like, I'm
Yeah.
happy
Yeah.
for Tom Holland to get to keep doing what he loves.
I'm
Yeah.
happy. I'm happy for Tom Holland. I'm happy that like the director knows what he's doing now.
Yeah.
Like, cause
And
you
then we
know,
don't need to get another reboot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
There have been
Thanks
Thank
the
you. And
Lord.
I think they also alluded to in the announcement today that they could very well be tying in the Sony universe in with the MCU.
that would be wild.
Which
That
would
would
mean
be
that by
interesting.
default Venom becomes the worst MCU movie.
Okay,
It's-
I don't think Venom was that bad.
Compared to the rest of the MCU.
Yeah, compared to like let's put him up against Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he worse than Thor?
The movie, not the character, the
Oh.
movie.
I
Or
don't know.
Thor the Dark World.
Okay, personally, I think both of those movies are worse than Venom.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, granted, I only saw Venom once. I feel like if I were to watch it again, I would hate it.
I mean,
But I just wanted the movie to be good.
I
okay?
feel that. I get that. I get that.
I mean, Venom is seriously like one of my favorite. I mean, this may be my inner edgelord coming out. But
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Venom is seriously like one of my favorite characters from just
Yes.
Marvel in general.
No, he's a great character.
And I love Tom Hardy too. So I was just like him playing Eddie Brock and Venom.
Yeah.
That just sounds like perfect to me.
And hey, with
Like,
Andy Serkis directing the sequel, I'm on board for the sequel.
yeah,
I
I think the
forgot that Andy
sequel.
Serkis
I
was
think the
directing.
sequel will be good.
Yeah. Plus, we get Woody Harrelson as Carnage. which is
Yes.
great.
That's a great casting.
Now, I'm not saying the first movie was like flawless or anything. Like it was bad, but it was an enjoyable kind of bad. if
I
that
would
makes
say that it
sense.
was very like cheesy. I
Oh
guess.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
It almost kind of felt like an early 2000s superhero movie, which I know
That's
sounds.
what it
Yeah.
always looked
Yeah,
like
that's what
to
a lot
me.
of people said about it.
It looks like a superhero movie that would have come out 15 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like if they had just kept making Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. That's
Yeah.
what, like the natural conclusion is Venom.
Or like a Daredevil, Elektra,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Yeah.
X-Men type stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. One thing that I like, everybody like makes fun of the one scene where he's just like, "You're gonna." What was it like? You're gonna fly like a turd in the wind. I still think it's great. I don't know.
Well,
I
there's
love it.
that, and I thought there's the one scene when they're fighting by that rocket. That they both just are
Yeah.
just like these gray blobs fighting
Yeah,
in space. I'm
it's-
like, I can't tell what is going on right now. It's just these CGI
Oh,
blobs
man.
punching
Yes.
each
It's
other.
funny.
It was great.
And
Yes.
of course, it's set at night, so you already
Yeah.
can't see anything anyway against
Yeah,
it. It's
What's
like-
what's with people making stuff too dark? Like
I don't know. That's
you
just,
got the Battle of Winterfell
Oh,
where nobody
yeah.
can see anything.
Well, that's a whole other
Venom.
topic.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing.
Oh,
yes. So with that, Lucas, what is your news topic?
So, my news topic this week is I kind of want to talk about the new Call of Duty Modern
Yes.
Warfare.
I just watched a YouTube video about this last night, actually.
Yeah. So,
I've heard very little about this,
Yeah.
but I think I know.
I
what's going
have
on.
been keeping in touch with it a little bit. So, first and foremost, for those of you who don't know, this Call of Duty is a remake of the original
Or reboot. Yeah.
Reboot. Okay.
It's not following the exact story.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so reboot of the classic Modern Warfare, which I'm a very big fan
Yes.
of both
too.
Modern Warfare
Yeah.
1 and 2.
Yeah, Modern
Not
Warfare
3?
2
You don't like 3?
is-
I didn't play 3
Oh,
actually.
you should-
2 was like where I left off. I'm not like a major Call of Duty fan. Like I definitely appreciate the series. Like, before
Before,
Yeah.
before
before the downfall.
Before what? Advanced
Yeah.
Warfare? Is that where people sort of put the...
I think so. I think it was.
For me,
I
I
think
kind of dropped off
Ghosts.
with Ghosts.
Ghosts was like the
Okay.
start of it, but Advanced Warfare was definitely like that was it.
Yeah.
That's when they started to get to the whole everybody was making fun of it.
Yeah.
The whole celebrity
Yeah.
cameo.
Yep.
Stuff like
Yeah.
that. It was,
And then there's like the whole
Kevin
meme of
Spacey.
like pay your respects.
no,
Yeah.
Press
Press X to pay your
which
respects.
I cannot believe that actually made it into a game.
Yeah.
Press
And-
F to pay respect.
Yeah. So anyway, Modern Warfare
Yeah.
has our favorite game mechanic: pay to win loot boxes.
Yes!
Oh my
We need
gosh.
more of these.
I love it.
Oh, you mean surprise mechanics?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Surprise mechanics.
That's an inside joke for everybody
Yeah.
at home.
Yeah.
It's a just look. There's for backstory. Was it an EA?
I believe it was an EA.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it was
they were saying like
yeah.
loot boxes aren't
Yeah.
gambling; they're surprise mechanics, and kids love them.
And this
Yeah.
was in front of Congress, and Congress was not buying it. They were
Yeah.
like, "Are you kidding me?" Like,
yeah. And I know Activision is known to be very greedy,
Yes,
but it's just like, why? You know that everyone hates these. And I mean, look
Yeah.
at Battlefront 2 when that came out. That game got so much backlash
yeah,
because of it having pay to win loot boxes, and they took them out of the game.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard now, Battlefront 2 is like pretty good.
it's still got loot boxes, but it's not pay to win
yeah,
anymore.
and it's just it's all just like cosmetic now, isn't it?
Yeah,
Or-
I think from what I've seen in Battlefront 2, it's basically like skins for stormtroopers. Like
Okay.
they want different paint jobs for different units. Or something
and
like
I
that.
think that's fine. But it's just why I'm sick of just
Yeah, me too.
monetization in games where
It's starting to feel like mobile games.
it's terrible.
yeah. You already paid the box price. Is,
Now,
is
if
my
it
problem.
was a free to play game, I'd be like, okay,
yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
But
you have to make money. On
yeah,
this
exactly. You
somehow.
gotta
Yeah.
make money on it somehow. But it's just like, no, this is a $60 game with the season pass too. It's probably what, like $100 some.
Yeah.
And then you can put even more money into it
Well,
afterwards.
there's also a season pass.
I'm pretty sure, isn't there?
Okay,
Wow.
that's ridiculous. If
That's
it's
a lot of
I know
money.
they do
a
that. with-
$60 game plus
Yeah.
a season pass plus my.
I mean, I'm not entirely sure, but I know they've been putting season passes in Call of Duty games.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
can,
they've been doing it forever.
I can
Ever,
understand.
yeah.
I could understand doing season passes and microtransactions if you were gonna do like a season pass and then like once a month you put out like 7 skins that you
Yeah.
can buy for like $3 a piece.
Or if you do
I
like
could
the
understand
Fortnite
that.
Battle Pass thing, where it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
buy the year 1 pass and you get all this, or something.
Yep.
like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Or you buy it separately, something like
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. But
And-
like
Yeah.
it's incredibly it's sort of incredibly beyond the pale. I
Yeah.
think to have what is it like $25 season pass?
that. Probably.
I think they're
It's
typically 50.
Yeah, because some of them have been
Yeah.
more.
Black Ops 4 was 50.
$50.
Now that was a game. I don't know why, but I bought Black Ops 4. I was like, you know what? I've heard people say this is pretty good. You know,
the
it
battle
had-
royale stuff is actually pretty
yeah,
cool.
I dabbled in that a little bit. I mean, I just suck at battle royale games, so
Yeah, me too.
I would never win a game, and I got killed within like the first like 10 minutes of it.
Which is
But
why I don't have fun in battle royale games.
but the zombies were kind of fun. That's just another thing with Call of Duty. Like that was like the main reason why I would play a lot of the newer Call of Duties is just for the zombie mode.
It's the only reason I would even buy Black Ops 4. Is for
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre now. It really is. Like there's so many like mechanics that are in zombies now,
Yeah.
and I just don't know if I really like it.
I mean, the only reason why I would do it is I do enjoy, just like as wacky and stupid
Yeah,
as it is,
I like how
playing co-op with
Yeah.
some buddies and zombies is still fun.
Yeah.
Like it's always been fun.
But I just remember, especially in Black Ops 3, like the whole like Cthulhu like noir mystery thing you did, and you became like this giant tentacle monster and you had to like cast these spells on things. Like I get that it's ridiculous, I get that it's funny, but it was just so confusing, and
And that's the thing
Yeah.
I've noticed with Call of Duty is the disconnect with things.
Yeah.
You know, of the different modes, because I think with how expensive and time consuming they are, I believe sometimes it's different teams that work on these modes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the modes are always like the story mode, like I guess we're looking at Black Ops 3. The story mode,
Yep.
the multiplayer, and the zombies are all very different.
Oh
beasts.
yes, they're extremely different, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just kind of weird.
Like I've always enjoyed the Call of Duty story modes because they're basically just big dumb action movies.
Yeah.
And they're always completely insane, but they're always
Yeah.
so much fun.
Yeah,
Like the Modern Warfare trilogy and the Black Ops I guess that's more than a trilogy now.
Yeah.
are
well, Black
Great.
Ops 4 I guess wouldn't count since it doesn't have a campaign.
true, but and 5 is
yeah.
coming out with a campaign, I believe.
Interesting.
That's gonna be next year. I don't even know why they still do it with separate titles. It should just be Call of Duty 2020, Call of Duty 2021.
Yeah,
It's like
it's hard to keep up with it.
Call of Duty and then studio name number.
well,
is
nothing.
what it should be.
No title described the Call of Duty franchise more than Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, because that's really
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah. Infinite Warfare.
I mean, basically.
Sega, fun is infinite.
Yeah.
But like and I don't mean to hijack your
No,
but like my issue with Call of Duty is they just seem to be throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
They're like,
Definitely.
oh, people didn't like this. Let's go back to World War II. Oh, they didn't like that. Let's do Black Ops 4. People like Black Ops.
Yeah.
Oh, well, people didn't like that. Let's do Modern
Yeah.
Warfare again.
But they're just
Yeah.
like, well, they didn't like the exosuits. Well, so we'll take that out of it.
Yeah, and it's just
Yeah.
like, let's just, people like that. Do that.
Yeah.
And now Sledgehammer's off of the next one because of some issue. So now, I believe Treyarch, I think it's Treyarch, right? Because Infinity Ward's doing this one.
Yeah.
So I believe-
Treyarch kind of does all the Black
Yeah.
Ops.
So
games.
Treyarch has about a year to make a full-fledged Call of Duty game from scratch. And I am genuinely
Good
worried
luck.
about that. Good luck.
Yeah.
Which means they're probably going to have to scrap a campaign because they don't have time.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Definitely.
I don't know. So I
This
mean,
has happened before.
okay. So another thing with
Modern
Modern
Warfare.
Warfare, there's going to be an exclusive survival mode only on PlayStation.
An entire
for-
mode?
So
For a
Oh, I
year.
didn't realize it.
So-
was
No,
an
I did look
entire
into it
mode.
further.
Yeah, I did
It's
too.
not a permanent thing. It's only a year.
It's until October 1st, 2020.
Yeah.
Still.
Well, and there's things with that. So it's the Spec Ops mode, but it's not all of Spec Ops. So
Yeah.
have you ever played?
No.
Okay. So
Well,
in the
I've played Call of Duty before.
well, like, but not. Okay.
No.
So in the Well, I believe it specifically. I remember playing it in Modern Warfare 2. There was a Spec Ops mode, which were basically just a series of co-op missions that were more and more difficult against AI bots.
Yeah.
And it was essentially just, you remember this mission from the campaign, but now the enemies are in different locations and there's more firepower or something like that.
Yeah.
Spec Ops is still in this one on both platforms. However, the, I think it's basically like a horde mode, their survival mode, is exclusive to PS4 for a year.
Yeah. My thing with that, though, is just like, Call of Duty games come out every year.
Yeah, so it's not gonna matter.
We'll already be on to the next
Yeah.
Black Ops 5 will be out by the time they switch that. So it's not gonna matter.
which, okay, so two things with that. I mean, one, I'm not going to get the game just because I was very disappointed with Black Ops 4 and
Well, you're not gonna get Modern Warfare or Black Ops 5?
Modern Warfare.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know. I just have really lost interest in the franchise. But I mean, I do have a PlayStation. That is like my main console, but I still have a problem with that just because everyone else who doesn't have a PlayStation can't experience that mode. I mean, honestly, I think that would be a key thing that would convince me to buy the game is because that's a big reason why I play Call of Duty is I love the horde modes in them. I love the zombies mode. Ghost wasn't that good, but the alien survival mode
I didn't know there was that in Ghost.
Yeah. I played that a little bit. I'm like, this was fun. And then the survival mode in like Modern Warfare, those were a lot of fun. But just not having that, I don't know. I just think that's really stupid.
You know, exclusivity is always a hard thing to juggle.
Yeah.
And so like Bungie did it with PlayStation for really long time.
Yeah, they had exclusive weapons like
and
Destiny.
And Call of Duty's always had exclusive deals. With people. Like, I mean, I think it was Black Ops 3, the map packs you got, like, a month earlier or something like that.
On
something
PS4,
like that, But now, I think the problem now is that, like, it's an entire
chunk of the game.
style that you just can't play if you're on Xbox. I think that's the bigger problem. If it were like, you know, the mode, but instead of like 2 maps, there's only 1 map, that'd be one thing. But
and if it was only like, PlayStation gets to have both of these exclusive maps for like maybe a month or 2.
I think that's my issue. In Call of Duty, I have not bought one Call of Duty game new at full price since Black Ops 2 was the last one I did that, which was like 2013,
which
2012.
I think a lot of people would say that that's sort of the height of Call of Duty.
Yeah,
honestly, I think in terms of sales, the height was Modern Warfare 3 in 2011, which I think was like 30 million copies or something like that.
Not that Modern Warfare isn't gonna make
it's
bajillion
dollars. Well, I mean, these games still make a ton of money, but when you compare that to the height that Modern Warfare 3 sold in 2011, it's still
different.
I mean, they're still going to make billions of dollars.
They're going to make
the landscape is changing a little bit though, and I think Lucas, did you have anything more you wanted to say specifically about Modern Warfare?
Nothing really comes to mind too much.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, really, I can just relate this with just gaming as a whole. I'm just really sick of just ways where I shouldn't say developers, but just game companies are
it's
just
more the publishers.
Yeah, it's the publishers.
It's definitely.
Are just trying to nickel and dime you. Just that.
Last thing I have to say about Call of Duty would be, I still think the campaigns are fun, and they're fun to play for an hour. I don't think they're $60 worth. But if you're going to get a Call of Duty game, wait. I mean, usually in about 3 months they'll be half price.
They'll be cheap.
Pick it up for $30 at GameStop. Play the campaign because they're short and fun, and then you can get some of the zombie DLC and play it with some buds. It's worth it for a couple hours at a $30 price point for the content that's there.
Yeah.
But I would advise against buying a $60 game and then a $50 season pass and then buying microtransactions for a game that's going to be forgotten about in a year.
Exactly. Seriously.
Yeah.
That's too much. So with that, I don't think we have time for my topic, just because I know you need to leave at 3, right?
Because I don't think I think another hour.
So let's move on to our topic this week is kind of a state of gaming discussion. So I think
you've already kind of started into that.
I think Lucas, I think you said it best. I'm kind of sick of overly
Overly monetized.
not just overly monetized, because I think that there are ways of monetizing where it's not that transparent and it's not that like obviously greedy.
Yeah.
But with Modern Warfare, I think NBA 2K sort of famously had a
Yeah.
like this is gambling, like literally
Yeah.
casinos.
He's literally
Yeah, that
games
game,
in the
there's a
game.
legitimate casino in the game. And it's not like card games or anything. It is
Yeah.
full on like this is a slot machine.
Yeah.
This is a pachinko machine.
like
to
it's,
win.
it's different like when GTA 5 did it because you couldn't actually spend real money on the
Yeah.
slot machine.
Yeah.
You were
Yeah.
it was just like your earnings you had made in the game.
Yeah, and it's I watched a video at one point where a guy was going through the ESRB and he looked at how Pokemon had gotten a higher rating because it had like moments of simulated gambling,
Yeah.
but then like NBA 2K was rated E for everyone.
I don't understand that at all.
It literally has you spend real money.
Yeah.
You put it into the slot machine,
Yeah.
and you pull the slot
Well,
machine.
I
and
don't
You get
I
nothing.
don't get the
Like,
logic there at all. It doesn't make any sense.
It's because the ESA is in the pocket of these publishers, the
Yeah.
Entertainment Software Association, because they don't care. Because
No.
these publishers, people like us who are in the gaming community, hate this stuff. But then you realize how I believe that FIFA Ultimate Team card packs contributed to about like it's a significant chunk of EA's revenue for like 1 year alone.
Yeah.
It was like a significant percentage was just the microtransactions
Yeah.
for just FIFA.
which means they're selling.
Yeah.
Which means that even other people like us who are tired of it, the vast majority of people don't care.
Yeah.
Which is the problem. Because the people who are spending all this money are usually kids who are just using mom's credit card to buy FIFA.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just
Like,
clear out their bank accounts.
yeah, and that's the stories that it makes me worried about this. Is while
Yeah.
I don't like the monetization, I can at least deal with it because I know I'm not going to spend money on it.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm only
It's-
there for the story.
Yeah, it's not a problem for adults. I don't really have an issue with it if I wasn't.
I mean,
concerned
I don't
about
like
the
it, but I can deal with it. 'Cause
Yeah.
my issue
Yeah.
is that it's predatory, and there are people who they mask it as saying, "Oh, it's not gambling. It's just part of this video game. It's harmless."
Surprise
Yeah.
mechanics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
People
there's
love
people
these.
who like these kids they thought it was just a game. They didn't know they were actually spending real money
Yeah.
because it didn't pop up out of the PlayStation Store, and they had cleared like $2,000, $3,000
Yes,
buying. I
yes.
think it was like FIFA packs or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean there are
It's
tons
bad.
of these stories. It's
Yeah.
not something
Yeah.
that happens irregularly.
Like, and I would much rather, and I know I'm in the minority on this, but I would much rather have like the old days in like the PS3, Xbox 360 era of like the map packs in Call of Duty. Say, pay $30 and you'll get a set of maps
Yeah.
for a month rather than microtransactions, or like an expansion pack thing like World of Warcraft
Yeah.
would do, where you say, okay, you'll have the main game, but then in 2 years release a $40-$50 expansion that adds
Yeah.
on a whole 5-hour campaign.
Or
Yeah.
do like a subscription service. I'd be better. I'd feel better about that. Like if you told me like, hey, pay $40 for a game, and then you get the first month of online for free,
As
and
well
then,
as some
Yeah.
like bonus goodies.
yeah,
or something
and then
like that.
and then if you buy the subscription, not only do you get to keep playing online, you get some of this bonus stuff that we're
Yeah.
And that's what Battlefront 2 realizes, even though there's microtransactions in there, rather than paying for maps or
Yeah.
new planets or new characters, they've just continuously supported it. Like this month alone, they just added in Felucia as a
Yeah.
playable
Didn't they
planet.
also add like the Republic Commandos?
Yeah, they added the Republic
That's
Commandos,
cool.
they added
Yeah.
Felucia,
Yeah.
they added...
They're adding just a ton of Clone Wars era stuff.
They added
Yeah.
instant action for offline co-op play, which is from the old
That's
games.
Nice.
And in December, they're adding in stuff from Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
So, like, they're continuously adding stuff
Yeah.
for no charge. And that's how it should be, is just say, hey, here's a platform, and then give us a either subscription service or optional microtransactions.
Yeah.
It should not be used as a way to basically say, buy a $60 game and then
Yes.
do this.
Although
Yeah.
I bet a lot of that is coming more from Disney sort of having their hand in their throat and saying, you are going to give us goodwill. And if you do not give us goodwill,
Yeah.
we will pull the plug on this.
Exactly.
And so they're like Disney is telling them to give us stuff for free.
Because
more than,
they've... EA, I mean, they've had this license since... They've had it for 10 years now? Something like that. It's getting up
yeah,
there.
it's something like that.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
They've had this license for quite a while, and they've made what? Not if we're not counting mobile games, they've made 2 games and soon to be 3 with Jedi Fallen Order.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 of those games did not have goodwill.
Well,
Yes.
okay, I think there's
The original
There's
Battlefront had
yeah.
a little bit.
A
of
little bit of goodwill, but
Yeah.
my issue with it was
Yeah.
there's not a lot of content there.
No.
yeah.
No single
No.
player, like 4 planets.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just really, I think it was like you had, what was it, Vader, Palpatine,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Boba
there
Fett,
wasn't
and
a
then
lot
Luke,
of-
Han, and
yeah.
Leia, or something like that.
And,
That was it.
and I think that they were trying to like do a like nostalgia trip original trilogy thing, but I think what I liked about Battlefront 2 was they decided like, okay, we're just gonna throw everything at the wall. Like we're gonna like Darth Maul, Yoda, like
Yeah.
friggin' everything. And
No,
like
and my whole issue with it is these new Battlefront games have still not been able to match the amount of content that the old Battlefront
that
games.
Battlefront 2 had.
Yeah,
Battlefront-
Battlefront 2
yeah,
for
Battlefront
PlayStation
2.
2 and Xbox had
Yeah.
so many
Literally
options.
everything.
It had
That game is
almost every
fantastic.
character, including obscure characters you had never heard of.
Yeah.
It had planets that were barely featured in the movies.
Yeah.
And you could play on all of them now. It's getting an obscure character or a planet that was not the site of a major battle in a Star Wars movie is rare.
Yeah.
Like,
And Jedi Fallen Order, it looks all right. It looks well made.
Yeah.
But
It
the
looks
E3
like-
demo looked so generic.
Yeah, it did look like kind of just a generic action
from
game.
what, they did release a new story trailer, I believe, yesterday. I think.
Yeah,
it was.
yeah.
And the
I
story
think
trailer
that-
seemed a bit more interesting. It
Yeah.
seemed very, much like Jedi needs to go find a MacGuffin, which is an excuse for.
Yeah.
But
most Jedi games.
Yeah, exactly.
but it seemed like a cross between Force Unleashed and God of War 2018,
Interesting.
with
Yeah.
a little bit of like Dark Souls-y esque combat.
It looked,
Yeah.
I would say my biggest issue with Jedi Fallen Order right now is that it looks too sort of clunky.
Yeah.
Like I don't like it when Jedi feel like a
tanks.
knight.
Yeah.
Like I don't want them to feel like they're wearing armor. I want them to feel like a ninja.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
that makes sense.
I'm still probably gonna pick it up if the reviews are good. It won't be day one, but it might be open.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in it. I'm a big fan of Respawn.
Yeah, Respawn's great.
Yeah,
I
they're
loved
talented.
Titanfall 2.
That's why I'm considering doing it.
Yeah.
Titanfall 2 was great.
But I'm still a little worried about it. I think it's going to be a fine game. Like, I don't think it's going to be bad, but I'm a little
I
skeptical.
don't disagree with you on
Yeah.
that.
I still wish we could have gotten visceral Star Wars game. I would have been so
Yeah,
good.
that would have been interesting. But
And Star Wars
Yes.
1313 too.
yeah,
1313 would have been amazing.
That would have been really cool.
It was gonna follow a bounty hunter, and it was gonna.
Yeah, it was gonna be
Yeah.
Boba Fett.
Yeah, wouldn't it
Was
be
it
like a
gonna be
young
Boba
Boba
Fett?
Fett?
They
That
later
would've been
confirmed it after it got canceled.
Yeah, that's right. You know, what I really want...
And
Yeah.
was Amy Hennig's the Visceral game?
That's right, yeah. But what I really
So-
want is Knights of the Republic 3.
Why do we not have that yet?
Why
I don't
don't
want-
we have that?
Why don't
The
everybody
first
loves
two
it.
games are so good. I know a lot of people complain about the second one, like, you know, it was a rushed game, and it was, but I still think the second one was great.
Yeah.
And then, like, on Steam, there's, like, a mod for, like, this, I want to say it was, like, incomplete content that they, like, I think it was, like, the original developers, like, actually finished it, and they put it into the game.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Like, they add, like, a whole new planet, there's, like, new, like, side stories, there's, like, new items and everything, and, like, just new characters.
Pretty cool.
Well, and there's also
Yeah.
Battlefront 3 was leaked online, I believe. Like
Was it?
the original
like the-
pandemic
yeah.
Battlefront 3
okay.
was going to be released, and it was pretty much finished, but they canceled it last minute.
Yeah, I'd heard. My friend always told me that like they canceled it on release day or something.
Pretty
like,
much.
on
It
their
was like-
planned release day.
They
or
were
something.
very
bad.
close to releasing it, or like I think they hadn't announced it yet, but it was pretty much
Yeah.
completed
Yeah.
production, and they were like, "Nah, we're not releasing this."
That-
But there you can
weird.
there are
Yeah.
prototypes and like you can find like bits of it online and play it,
Mhm.
and it looks really good.
Yeah, it's a shame. EA does not deserve the Star Wars
No.
license.
I mean, I just think sometimes, just like, what if, like, a really awesome developer had the Star Wars license?
what
Like,
if I hate to say it, Sony? What if Sony had it?
Yeah.
Honestly,
Like,
I think
give it
with-
to Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
Or
I
I
think
would've
it's like
said
a
give it
Naughty
to,
Dog Star Wars game.
more Rocksteady.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rocksteady.
Rocksteady.
WB could do great.
Honestly, if they made... Okay, here's what I think. Give the Star Wars license to a developer like CD Projekt Red
Oh
and
my
make
goodness gracious.
Knights of the Republic 3. Oh my gosh, that would be incredible.
Well, I just can't understand why Disney decided let's only give the license exclusively to one developer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? You don't do that with
Yeah.
Marvel. Why are you doing
Yeah,
that with
that
Star
would be
Wars?
that'd be
Seriously,
fantastic.
Like, why give EA an exclusive 10-year license so you can make 3 games when you could give the
Yeah.
license out to multiple people
Yeah.
and get like 3 Star Wars games a
Yeah.
year rather than
Yeah.
one? a year?
You know, I think that like we would have a lot better Star Wars stuff if there was diversity in the
Yeah.
in the.
I think so,
like,
and not
in
just
the
leaving it to
developer
EA,
pool, yeah.
and they're gonna make like the same kind of games.
It's gonna be well. Like I said, they've had this license since like 2014,
Yeah.
and they've
Yeah.
made 2 Battlefronts and Jedi Fallen Order.
We should literally be getting a Star Wars game every year.
Yeah.
Every other year, there should at least be one bad Star Wars game that comes out, and there's not one. And I think that that's really telling.
Like there should be, and it's all mobile. Is what's really interesting too. Is
Yeah.
if you look at the list of Star Wars games on like the wiki, every single thing has been a mobile game except for the 3 that I mentioned. But there's Galaxy of Heroes. There's
Yeah.
the Battlefront tie-in app.
What's the? There's the one where it was kind of like a base building game. I played it a little
Yeah,
bit. I can't remember
there's
what it was
so
called.
many of them.
Yeah, there's
and
tons
there's-
of them
And
Yeah.
I'm sure they're raking in lots of money, and
Yeah.
that's my issue with it. Is it's just there's no. I don't think EA genuinely cares about the Star
though.
Wars.
No.
brand.
No, they literally just have it because they know it makes money.
Because
Yeah.
they know Star Wars is a massive franchise.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's gonna
that's
cost
my
money.
issue. Like Jedi Fallen Order, I do think they have some people on there who care. Like
Yeah.
Stig Asmussen is I believe is directing the game. He directed God of War 3.
Mhm.
Oh, really?
And
I
yeah,
didn't know
he's a great game director. He's not quite Kojima, but
But
I mean, nobody can reach the level of Kojima.
Second
That's what we
Kojima
do.
reference
Yeah.
of the week.
But I mean, I have to have
Yeah.
some.
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
like he's a great director, so I do think they have people behind the scenes on Jedi Fallen Order who are good. But I don't think there was really anybody in the first 2 Battlefronts who cared
No, I don't
much
think
about what's
so.
going on.
No.
Like I think the writers for the campaign of Battlefront 2 might have cared, but I don't think
Yeah.
anybody else did.
Yeah.
And Battlefront 1, I think they only did original trilogy because that's all they had time for.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to rush it out before The Force Awakens. If they had taken their time, I'm sure it probably would have been much more.
Filled out.
Kind of funny how when
Yeah.
we talk about problems in the game industry, it's almost been all EA.
All EA.
Hmm.
Oftentimes Star Wars too.
Well,
Yeah.
Star Wars has enough issues going on.
Yeah.
right
Yeah,
now.
that's a very big topic right
Yes.
there. But,
Speaking of,
yeah.
if you want a good video on this, the YouTube reviewer Jeremy Johns, do you either guys watch
yeah,
him?
I know him.
He published a video yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, that, as of this recording, that was talking about Bob Iger's quote on how George Lucas felt betrayed by what Disney's been doing with Star Wars. And if anything shows how it's going, if the original creator is feeling betrayed, I think that means the fans are probably
Yeah.
there too.
Yeah.
But that whole video he did, I highly recommend giving him a shout out here to watch that video that he did, where he talks about the current state of Star Wars, the fandom,
Interesting.
what Disney's been doing, what they should have done, the inconsistency. I highly recommend.
Well, I'm still really excited about Rise of Skywalker. That's not the topic today.
No.
Yeah.
So, Star Wars video games and EA aside, I think we were talking a little bit earlier about the Call of Duty, how Call of Duty's sales are starting to go down. And I think that's partially because the landscape is changing.
Yes.
And I think for one thing, we'll always have, Call of Duty, sports franchises, stuff like that. Those are always going to still be big sellers no matter what, mostly because they're sort of ingrained in American
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
And a lot of a lot of people buy a PS4 so they can play the next Call of Duty game that comes out
Honestly,
every
the
year.
thing that I see the most is for Madden, FIFA, and 2K.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the sports games, people will buy a new console just to play those.
Yeah,
Mhm.
play new sports games, and they work as like Netflix machines and stuff like that
Yeah.
too. So it's it's sort of an all-in-one package. But in terms of games that gamers and people who are maybe even just a little bit more invested in games, I would say are becoming more of those like third-person action games, like Jedi Fallen Order,
God of War,
God of War,
Last of Us.
Horizon, stuff like that. I think is starting to be popularized a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like the pendulum has swung back from like it was at first-person shooters. Like everything was a first-person
I
shooter.
remember.
Now
I
it's
would say-
third-person action.
Yeah,
Now it's all third-person action.
Yeah.
And, I think people who really like third-person action, like myself to some degree, I would say I like Japanese third-person action a little bit better than American. But, people who like that stuff are happy. But I think that that's also just because it's we've had more successful third-person action games in recent history. And, EA making that famous quote, like, go for single-player games.
Yeah, nobody's interested in single player games
Nobody's
anymore.
interested in those anymore, and it's just like, it's not real.
EA is actually starting to sound like the Empire, which is kind of like
I'm
Seriously.
just curious, like, where they get that information from.
sales, probably.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
but-
I mean, it is sort of impossible to deny FIFA's
Yeah.
sales. Like,
Yeah.
it sells super well.
The thing is that we kind of have the disadvantage of we're coming from the inside.
Yeah.
Like, we are the crowd who is wanting the gamers who are wanting the
Yeah.
single player story games, your big
Yeah.
experiences.
I'm the guy who bought a friggin' 2D Japanese action game last night.
Like, the audience for those games, like the general populace, if you go out on the street and say, "Hey, are you excited for Death Stranding?" They're gonna go, "What?" Like,
Yeah.
they're not gonna know what that is. That's
Yeah.
not the audience this is for. But if you go around the street here on campus and you ask, "Hey, are you excited for the new NBA 2K?"
yeah.
A lot of
See
people
lot
are
of
gonna
people
get.
talking
Yeah.
about that,
It's the general audience, and though it's most popular, is not going to be
Mhm.
these third-person action
Yeah.
games, with some exceptions. Spider-Man, Star Wars,
Yeah.
those are gonna sell.
I
But-
think God of War sold pretty well, too.
Yeah, I would say,
I mean, I'm not saying they don't sell,
Yeah.
but like when you
Yeah.
compare it to
Yeah.
FIFA, Madden, and
Well,
then GTA, especially.
I think
too.
that
Oh, yeah.
I think part of what has happened though is that with EA, I would say that there's sort of I think they underestimated how many of people like us there are.
Yeah.
Because like when you go back to 2013 and you think about the PS4 versus Xbox One
Yeah.
thing, and the biggest through line that there was for Sony's success was they weren't marketing to grandmas.
they focused on us.
They were
or
they
not
focus-
us specifically, but
But
Yeah.
they marketed to people who they showed like a Final Fantasy 15 trailer. They showed like Kingdom Hearts 3 was at their press conference, right?
Killzone Shadowfall, even
Yeah.
though it didn't turn out that great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Killzone. You had
Knack.
Knack,
Good old
Uncharted.
Yeah.
Like there's just there was
Infamous too.
yeah, Infamous.
Oh, yeah.
Infamous is like a gamer's game, right? Like that, like
Yeah.
It's a third-person action game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And so it's I think that and then PS4 has since been one of the fastest selling consoles to come out,
I think it's
Is-
on track to dethrone the PS2.
which
I'm
is
pretty sure.
which is really impressive.
Yeah.
The Switch is getting
Yeah.
up there too.
Yeah, the
Which
Switch
one?
has sold
I think
a
the
lot.
Switch has outpaced PS4 in terms of like how fast it sold from launch, but
also
obviously
starting to
PS4
stagnate,
is
yeah.
still higher.
Yeah.
I don't think this is kind of a tangent, but I don't think it's going to be PS2. But the fact people forget about with the PS2 is that for many people it was mostly just a DVD
It was
player.
Yeah.
literally just
Yeah.
a DVD player.
And that is the benefit, and that's why the PS2 sold as well as it did.
Yeah.
Was
it was a cheaper DVD player.
it was a
right?
cheaper
Yeah,
DVD
and it was
player.
also a console,
Yeah,
so.
and kids
yeah.
would say like, "Hey, mom and dad, I know you want to get a DVD player, but
Yeah,
look,
get a
you can get a
PlayStation
PS2 and I can play games on it." And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what they ended up doing.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of times Sony would bundle TVs with a PS2. I think I could be wrong
I
about
could
that.
see
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
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 Very
I
cool.
mean, so I don't think it'll end up topping the PS2, but it's still very impressive to see
Yes.
the sales that they've got.
Yeah.
And the the Xbox, I cannot believe the stumble they made when they decided, yes, when we do our E3 presentation about the Xbox, let's market our Xbox not to people who are watching E3, but to the general population.
Yeah.
That
That
doesn't make
doesn't-
any
yeah.
sense to me. I don't
Yeah.
understand that.
I mean, you know, in 2019, I could maybe see it because the E3 has become a little bit more sort of general populace.
But in 2013, it doesn't make any
yeah,
sense.
in 2013, it's like, you know, we're hot off the heels of the PS3, which just had, you know,
Mhm.
friggin' Infamous 2 and Uncharted 3, I guess would have
It's,
been the
it's
last
that
two.
curse of the third console.
Yeah.
It seems like every time a manufacturer makes a third console, it's always a botched launch. The only one was the
Yeah.
N64 that didn't go bad.
Yeah.
I think the argument for the N64 is that it did go
Well, I mean,
bad.
comparatively to the SNES,
Yeah.
But like, what, Sega, the Saturn didn't do so hot.
Saturn.
I mean,
Oh.
unless you count the Sega CD, but that's more of an add-on.
Well, the Saturn was really big in Japan,
yeah.
but
I'm talking
Yeah.
the States.
yeah, in the
here.
States though, they made what?
Xbox One,
Like
the
18
PS3, and some of these systems did make recoveries, but their launches did not go well.
I would say Nintendo has had a poor third console,
Every console.
every three consoles. Because
Yeah.
you had the NES was big, SNES was bigger, or actually less big, I guess.
Yeah.
And then N64 didn't go so hot compared to the SNES.
Yeah.
GameCube, Wii U.
I guess GameCube also didn't go so hot.
Yeah, that's
Wii,
something that
Wii was pretty.
yeah.
pretty bummed.
I never understand is like, well, the GameCube now is kind of almost like a cult system.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot
So
of the
good.
games,
There's a lot of great
I
stuff.
love
in there.
it.
Yeah.
and
That library.
nobody
is
talks
terrific.
about it.
Well,
I feel like
it's because of what we just mentioned. It got demolished by the PS2.
yeah,
Yeah.
it 100
Yeah.
no,
Like,
it 100%
Xbox got
did.
demolished by the PS2. GameCube got demolished
Yeah.
by the PS2.
And there's just so many, like seriously, like some of my favorite games are on the GameCube.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
also, I gotta
And-
remember, that's my third reference of the episode. Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes on the GameCube
Yeah.
is great. God of War 1 and 2, Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3.
yeah,
No, that's not-
PS2.
Oh, that's PS2. Yeah. So, like, which system are we talking about again? Which-
I think Kingdom they had like Kingdom Hearts and stuff, and I
Yeah.
think the PS2 started a lot of really great franchises.
And
too.
it was the elevation of a lot. But the
Yeah.
GameCube
Yeah.
did that too. Metroid Prime.
Oh, Metroid
Um,
Prime is a masterpiece.
Wind Waker, Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
Super
Super Mario Sunshine.
Twilight Princess
That-
was on the Wii.
Yeah, that
to
one.
be fair.
Yeah, they came out at the same time,
Yeah.
like both
Yeah.
on the Wii
Yeah.
and the GameCube.
Actually, I think the
Yeah.
Wii version might have actually come out first.
I can
think.
see that happening because I bought it on the
That wouldn't
GameCube.
surprise me,
Yeah. I want the GameCube,
The GameCube
version.
version,
But it's more expensive.
the
Yeah.
GameCube version is the superior version.
I would agree.
Also,
It's-
there's the HD version.
Which
Yeah.
is probably
Wii
the
U.
Wii U
Yes.
version is probably
the Wii U
superior
version is probably
Which-
the best version.
I mean, judging by like how everything from the Wii is being ported to Switch, I don't think it's far.
I
enough.
really want that Zelda collection, man.
Yeah,
If
what they
give
should
me
do,
a
they
Zelda
should do a
collection.
dual pack of like Wind Waker HD,
Yeah.
Twilight Princess HD. on
$70
Switch.
give it to me.
I'm
I will
expecting
pay
more of, like-
$80 for that.
Yeah,
I'm
I would
expecting
do
more
it
of like
too.
a Mega Man Legacy Collection thing, where or
Okay,
like
that'd be pretty cool.
where they just do
That would
here-
be interesting.
Here's a
for
pack with the
Zelda.
first 5, another pack with the second
Yeah.
5, and so on.
That'd
and
be
so
cool.
on.
I'd
And
be
just
down
port
for
them all
that.
over. 'cause
Yeah.
There's never been a Nintendo console that had every Zelda game on it. Or every Mario game. Well,
Yeah.
Mario, it's kind of impossible because he's been in like 200 games.
Seriously.
But Zelda, like, if you wanted to, because the Switch has already got. I mean, porting the Wii U high res versions of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker probably wouldn't be that hard.
No, the one problem is that you'd have to. The Wii U stuff had the dual screen.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure they
Functionality,
could
yeah.
work around that somehow, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it's possible because both of them had like the actual menus still on the. You can still have it on the TV if you play with like a Pro
Now,
controller.
and the original
So-
versions weren't on the Wii.
Yeah,
So, like,
exactly.
I don't know if they're gonna do like kind of going back to like what you were saying, like them making like a Zelda collection.
Mhm.
I don't think they're gonna do that though because there's like kind of the whole like Netflix library of like
Yeah.
NES and
The-
Super
yeah.
Nintendo.
which
games.
I wish they would do that because now, essentially, and the thing that worries me about that is the Nintendo Online thing they're doing with the subscription service.
Mhm.
Once those servers get shut down, that's it.
Yeah, you can't play.
you can't
them
play them anymore, and that's why I'm so
Yeah.
staunchly on the side of buying physical games still.
Yeah.
because when those servers go down, that's it.
Yeah.
There's stuff
Yeah.
you can't get them again.
And
Yeah.
I just
That's
I
mean,
still
yeah.
don't get why there isn't a virtual console
Yeah,
on
Yeah.
Switch.
I think it's because they wanted to.
Yeah.
I want to keep the game special. I think.
Yeah.
They wanted that, and they wanted to incentivize people to do the online thing.
Yeah, because
if
like,
you
oh, look at
notice,
this.
I haven't played. The only game I have played on my Switch online was Smash, and I do that very rarely.
Yeah.
And it's it's a problem.
Yeah, I don't play like any online games.
Yeah.
I
on
don't either.
Switch.
The only reason why I had it is because Twitch Prime gave it away for free.
Yeah,
so I was
that's
like, why
how
not?
that's why I got it. And I kind of
I
dabbled
didn't even bring my
around.
Switch with me
Yeah.
to college, so meanwhile I have it. I'm not using it at all.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I kind of dabbled around a little bit with the like the whole like library.
Yeah.
And it works kind of well. It's a little confusing to navigate, but like once you're like you get it down.
Yeah, it works. My problem was that there were no Mega Man games on the
Yeah.
SNES, and I was like, so you're telling me I can't play Mega Man X?
Yeah.
I guess I'm just not
Well,
gonna.
it could have also been to incentivize buying the NES and SNES
Yeah.
classics.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could have been a big
It's
factor.
Yeah, I mean that. I think that game preservation is a really big problem nowadays because, like, something gets taken off of Steam.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, that's what happened with the Scott Pilgrim game. I wanted to play that game so bad.
oh yeah.
And they took it off the store because I think it was because of music licensing or something
Yeah.
like that.
Oh.
Which is actually what ends up getting a lot of these games is not
Yeah.
legal issues, it's the music licensing. It's not the developer or the publisher or anything, it's
Yeah,
music.
it's the music.
Which, I don't think there's anything in terms of the modern digital era that has caused more problems for legal issues than music
music?
licensing.
Yeah.
We
that's a
really
big one.
American copyright law needs to change because it's sort of becoming oppressive in a way. Like
Yeah.
the owner of the song now is sort of an overlord of anything that
Yeah.
the song is used in, and now
Yeah.
I think it interferes with more than it should be. There's one thing to protect creators. I think copyright law that is meant to protect creators from theft
Yeah.
is a good idea. But
Yeah.
then, like, when you're being like weirdly obsessed with fan fiction, it's like I don't know if I necessarily think that.
Well, and it gets more and more complicated now of people who are streaming video games on their Twitch or on their YouTube, but then monetizing those videos. Does that money also give a cut to, like, do you give a cut to Nintendo? Do you give a cut to YouTube? Who gets what?
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Well, Nintendo's like they really tried to crack down on that.
Yeah,
I
Didn't
remember,
they?
like,
it hasn't worked.
Yeah.
Every time it hasn't worked.
I think that's the problem is we're in one of those crossover eras where things are still trying to kind of be
Yeah.
worked
Yeah.
out. I mean, the same thing happened when with the transition from cartridge to disc.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still in that era of trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm not necessarily opposed to a government-run storefront. That's just me.
Well, I think there should be like a Library of Congress, but for games.
Yeah.
Or
that
they
would
start.
be interesting.
Have they started
Yeah.
putting games in the Library of Congress?
I mean,
'Cause I know they put movies in there now. Haven't
Yeah,
they?
I wouldn't be surprised if they put like the big ones, like maybe like the Super Mario Brothers, Pac-Man,
Zelda.
Zelda,
Yeah.
the really
basically every NES game released.
yeah,
basically.
pretty much like the really
Sonic
big stuff.
should be interesting.
Yeah,
Oh man.
really
Can you
iconic
imagine,
games.
like, the president's like, yes, I'm going to go to the Library of Congress and play Sonic the Hedgehog. But
Oh man, what if that happens in 20 years?
it could
That'd
happen
be-
now.
that'd be
It could
fantastic.
very well happen now.
Oh lord.
But the other issue they need to figure out with is with hardware.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these, like movies, for example, you can convert them, you can run them and put them on any platform you want. Games, they're sort of locked to their hardware. There needs to be a way
Yeah.
to preserve them so they're not locked to their hardware.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think one way to do that is to get rid of console exclusivity.
Yeah.
Because that would very quickly
Mhm.
open the door to games can just run on anything that can run on them. So even if you can't run it, you could download it, still preserve that game.
Yeah.
That's one way to do it. The problem is that console exclusivity just makes too much
Well,
money.
it's going to happen more now because you saw how much Sony was making off these exclusives.
Yeah.
And Microsoft just bought 14 new studios. Like,
Seriously.
it's going to keep...
Yeah.
Good esports.
It's gonna keep going.
Although
Yeah.
Xbox seems to be playing ball with
Yeah.
the idea of
Yeah,
crossplay.
They
and,
did just put out a statement saying that there were going to be no more first-party games making it to other platforms. Like Cuphead was the last one when it came
Oh,
to Switch.
did they? Oh,
Yeah.
that's a shame.
Because it was Cuphead on Switch, and I guess
Minecraft.
Minecraft is kind of the exception because that was everywhere before they bought it.
Yeah.
And even though they bought Obsidian, The Outer Worlds is still coming out on every platform because they had already made those deals before
Yeah.
they bought Obsidian.
I don't know. That's just something that kind of makes me sad a little bit. Is I love Obsidian.
Yeah.
I see they're in the top 5 of my favorite developers, and just having them only being on like PC and Xbox is
Yeah. That's
kind
a
of
shame.
unfortunate.
Same thing's
because-
happening with Double Fine now too.
Yeah, Double Fine.
Yeah, Double Fine. That's
Yeah.
Tim Schafer, right?
Yeah.
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 I mean,
He's a
Psychonauts, and a lot of classic LucasArts games.
Mhm.
yeah. Psychonauts 2.
Oh, and Brutal Legend. Brutal Legends is underrated.
Oh yeah.
Did you now I guess going into the next thing of the state of gaming, I want to take predictions on what month and year we think the next gen consoles are coming out.
I think.
And meaning specifically Xbox and PlayStation, because Switch is already their next
Yeah.
gen.
Yeah.
We're not.
Switch is
Yeah, Nintendo, they have their own generation of
Yeah,
consoles.
they
run a
they
different time.
operate on a different time scale.
I think it's gonna be didn't this Project Scarlet say it's gonna be next like holiday season?
They said holiday
I'm expecting
2019, or
November 2020
Yeah.
for both. Honestly,
I think
the PlayStation did very well.
PS5 they confirmed not April 2020, so I'm gonna say May 2020, just to be a little different. I think that there is they've been working on this console for 3 years probably at this point. They've probably been developing it since 2017.
Yeah.
And I think that they are. I get the distinct feeling that the PS5 is going to be a new console with a new UI and everything.
Yeah.
But it is still. But I think they've confirmed backwards compatibility in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
So I think that it's going to play as more like as at once both a new console and an upgrade. And I
Yeah.
think Sony's better at marketing than Nintendo is, so I think that they'll be able to make that jump better than they were able to with Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that given all of those circumstances, I think they're ready to put it out, and I would say May 2020 is a good time to put it out.
I think it's still gonna be PS5. I don't think they're gonna market it as like. I think they're gonna market it as the definitive PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they're gonna say it's like it's just the PS4 but upgraded. I think they're gonna say
Yeah.
like this is the definitive PlayStation 5. It plays, and I would love it if they say it plays all 5 generations of PlayStation.
That'd be so good.
that would be fantastic, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
I don't see every generation. I see 3, 4, and 5.
I think 4
Yeah.
for sure.
They do 4.
The issue with
Like,
3 is, and I've heard about this, was the cell architecture. Because like its
Ooh, yeah.
its architecture is really difficult to
It's
program for,
weird.
and it's
Okay.
different than most other systems.
I mean, honestly, if they just did PlayStation 4, I would be okay with that.
Yeah,
I mean, not to say.
I already have a
Yeah.
pretty big PS4 library.
Yeah,
so
I mean, not to
PS3
say, like,
yeah, go ahead.
The PS3 was like I didn't like any of the games on it, and same with PS2 and PS1. Like all 3 of those consoles like just have a fantastic library of games, but I would rather them kind of focus more on just like the tech and just game development for the PS5 rather than like, oh, you can play your whole library of PlayStation games on this console.
yeah.
Well, I hope that having PS4 backwards compatibility means that hopefully this next generation isn't entirely remasters of the previous generation.
Yeah,
That was like
this
most
one
of this
is.
generation.
Oh, there's a lot of that. I mean, that's seriously like I don't say most, but a good chunk of the Switch
Yeah.
library.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at like this year's releases, it's what there was. I mean, there
just tons
even
of
like
remasters.
Red Faction
Yeah.
Armageddon remastered, or like
There
why?
are
Like,
lots of remasters and remakes.
Yeah, it's just it is. I think people have caught on that remakes sell. Like people loved these old games,
Yeah.
so like why
And I mean,
why wouldn't you?
I'm one of those people.
yeah,
I
remake
will
is-
buy
I-
remakes
I
and
buy
remasters.
A remake is different from a remaster.
That's true.
Because, like,
Yeah.
for example, the Resident Evil 2 remake is very different than just
Yeah.
a remaster of Resident Evil
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Or same thing with Final Fantasy 7 remake.
Yeah, that
Like,
one's a whole.
Those I'm okay with because it's just a completely new version of the game.
And,
Yeah.
and the developers are obviously putting a lot of love into these.
If they just
Yes.
say, let's take the old game, give it a fresh coat of paint, and put it out on the new system, like
Yeah.
that, I don't see
Yeah.
a reason for
Yeah.
that.
I'm really interested to see when we start getting games like Super Mario Galaxy remake.
That's gonna feel
Like,
really weird.
That's gonna
Yeah,
be
that would be
incredibly
interesting.
strange because that game came out on the Wii.
2007.
Well,
I guess.
Nintendo
was-
really doesn't do. Well, I shouldn't say that, but they really don't do remakes like as much. I know
They
they, did
don't-
the Link's Awakening.
That's
remake,
really the first
Yeah.
one I can think of. Is like
Yeah.
They do like
remasters. They
yeah
have
with
now.
Zelda,
I know they have
with Zelda
remasters.
they do a lot of like pseudo remakes. Like they had A Link Between Worlds, which is basically
Yeah.
just A Link to the Past, but
Yeah.
with a fresh
Slightly
coat of
different.
paint.
And
With a
it's-
fresh coat of paint and like new, like different things, but it's still like the same core
Yeah.
structure.
But a different story, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Well, actually, I did look, but in the Zelda canon, it is actually it does take place like after Link's
Yeah.
Awakening
Yeah.
or
Link to the Past.
Link to the Past. Well, which I guess Link's Awakening does take place after Link to the
Yeah.
Past.
The Zelda canon is so confusing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Well,
interesting.
It's I don't know if I would necessarily say confusing as long as you understand the
Yeah.
the alternate
No.
timelines
Well,
thing.
explaining
as long
it
as
to
you
a
get
regular person.
yeah.
though,
There's
it's
just like what?
that. All you
No.
have to really know is that Ocarina of Time ends in 3 different ways.
Yes, that is the big thing.
You would also have to know that even though the main character is Link, there are different Links and different
Yeah.
Zeldas.
Yes.
So,
Lots of
actually, a
different-
question I want to ask you guys. Well, did you guys play Breath of the Wild?
I did.
I haven't, but I haven't played
But
it.
you haven't played. Okay.
You should get on that. But
Yeah,
It's-
I know I need to
it's
get on.
you know-
it's a that's an essential.
I'm not
I-
gonna like. I'm not like the type who like just follows like the cult of the new. But I actually think Breath of the Wild is my favorite Zelda game.
I don't necessarily disagree with you.
Yeah, I mean, not to say like the others are like not as good. Like,
Yeah.
Is there
I
a bad
love-
Zelda game?
uh,
Not
People
counting-
like to say
Yeah.
Skyward Sword is a bad game. It's
Yeah.
not.
I'm not-
I didn't play Skyward Sword, but I do want to play it one day. I'm kind of holding out for a Switch remaster for
It's
it.
gonna be
Hopefully.
difficult with the motion controls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just hope they like either like cut the motion controls or have it be an option.
Yeah.
Like I think the only games I'm not counting in Zelda would be the old like Philips CDI ones. I don't count.
We
that.
don't talk about
Yeah,
we
those
don't-
aren't
we
real
don't
Zelda
discuss
games.
We don't talk about those. But what I wanted to ask you guys though is like, so there is a sequel in development for Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
Yes.
Where in the timeline do you guys think it takes place?
I think it's gonna be directly to Breath of the Wild.
well, yeah, I
Yeah.
should rephrase that question.
Where do you think Breath of the Wild takes
like
place
in the
timeline?
three like timelines?
I think there are sort of 2 schools of thought on this.
yeah.
I think the big one that I like is that it's basically just it slots in where the original Zelda was
Mhm.
and just takes over that spot, and then everything else sort of goes from there.
Yeah.
I think I like more that this is like it's the idea that I like more is that it takes place like millions of years after the after Wind Waker.
Yeah, I know that's been a theory that some people have.
And it with the Rito and the one problem is that you have the Zora, so it if you know Link, if you know some really like deep lore in the
Isn't it like
Zelda
the
stuff.
Zoras evolved into the
Yeah,
Rito?
there's like a weird thing where the Zoras the Zora, who are like these fish creatures,
yeah.
grew wings basically, and they became
Yeah.
the Rito that you find in Wind Waker. So it's a little hard.
They're like
to-
the fish people from Ocarina.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. That and Link falls in love with two of them over two different timelines. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen some articles. It's like the people that Link should have ended up with instead of Zelda. I was like,
Yeah.
And it's,
who?
and it's literally a fish person.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
I was like, that's enough internet for today. Like, I'm done.
You know, and
Yeah.
in the context of like a fantasy world, you get it. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting how sort of high fantasy Zelda can be while
Yeah.
also being really campy.
Like when Nintendo allows it to be, it could be a high fantasy
Yeah.
series.
Twilight Princess is super high fantasy.
Oh, yeah.
Like
it.
that,
Yeah.
Skyward Sword, Ocarina, all those, I would say those are. When you get into the stuff that was on mobile, it's not mobile, but like handhelds, it's
Yeah.
not as much.
Yeah, like Link's Awakening doesn't look like a fantasy game. It looks like a children's game.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
looks. It,
No, I
it
know what
just
you mean
looks.
there.
It's
Like-
got that like cartoony thing.
Yeah.
Like telling people, hey, by the
Yeah.
way, I mean like Breath of the Wild, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword are in the same universe as Link's Awakening. And they're like,
Yeah.
what?
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, it's
even
kinda
even
weird.
Wind Waker looks it
Yeah.
purposefully has that cartoony.
Well, that game got a lot of backlash when
Yeah,
it was
when
announced,
it
but now
came
it's
out.
regarded as like
One of the best ones.
one of the best, Zelda games.
Like I want to play the Zelda series in order of release, and
Oh
I'm
Lord,
that's
a catalog.
it. Yeah,
I'm
that's a lot
working
to
on it.
tackle.
I've played the first one. I didn't beat all of it. I didn't beat the final dungeon, but I did beat everything else.
Yeah.
Which was a pain to do.
I'm sure
Uh,
that game is just a pain to play.
Yeah, well, there's no direction on where to go at all.
But if you have a guide, it can be kind of fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
But Zelda 2, I'll probably skip just because that game is impossible.
It's
That game is
it's impossible
kinda
and it's so different.
Yeah.
It's
It's
not
a side scroller.
I know a lot of people actually are out there who do enjoy Zelda 2.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people like say it's like, oh, well, this is one of the worst Zelda games. But I played a little bit of it, and it's not that bad.
Like I'll probably play a little bit of it, but I'm not
Yeah.
going to be committed more than 2 hours.
Yes.
I've played parts of Link's Awakening. Like I'll go through,
Yeah.
but the only ones I don't have yet, I need to get Majora's Mask, and I need to get.
Majora's
uh,
Mask is probably my second favorite Zelda game.
Interesting.
I need that
love
one,
it.
the Game Boy ones,
Yeah.
and I don't have Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword yet. I gotta get
Gotcha.
those.
Yeah. Majora's Mask I want to like a lot more than I do. I get through the first dungeon in that game and I'm like I get
Twilight
to like
Princess?
the
Or Majora's Mask.
Majora's Mask.
Okay.
I get through the first dungeon in that game, and then I get to like going up the mountain,
Mhm.
and then I'm like, all right, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
and I'm done.
And I totally understand like people not liking Majora's
Yeah.
Mask. I think it's such a different Zelda game.
It's
Yeah.
so different.
It is extremely different, and I love it though.
Yeah,
Like I
Yeah.
really like it.
it's got some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly like it feels more tedious.
Yeah.
Than it
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
I think for
It-
me.
the thing I love about that game is I think it has the best atmosphere in any
Yeah.
Zelda game. It is so creepy.
Every time Zelda goes like mildly creepy,
It's-
it
Pulls it
really
off.
pulls
Yeah.
it off.
It I think it pulls it off very well. I know Twilight Princess did it quite a bit too.
Yeah, Twilight Princess isn't as creepy. Like some of the monster designs are kind of creepy, but
Yeah.
it's more dark.
Yeah.
Like,
One of
it-
the only T-rated ones too, I think.
yeah, it's like there's one of the characters goes through this like losing the throne storyline that's
Yeah.
like really like you see them like on the floor trying to like stay conscious and stuff, and it's like, wow, this is
Yeah.
they really went for it in
Yeah,
Twilight Princess.
I think so.
In a different sort, it's still
Yeah.
sort of a campy like hero's journey and Link gets the Master Sword kind of thing, but it's they go for a more sort of Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
style
Mhm.
in Twilight Princess, while still maintaining a little bit of that like Japanese anime humor sort of
Yeah.
snuck in.
It makes me think about the fact that like the Wii has an underrated library.
It does.
Because like there's
Yeah.
a lot of games on the Wii that were, I mean, it was basically the home for shovelware.
Yeah,
Like,
oh,
a
yeah.
lot of garbage.
It's basically
Oh, yeah.
where shovelware came from.
Yeah.
Was the Wii?
I mean, like I would say, I mean, it's gotta have one of the biggest libraries, and most of it is garbage. But there's a lot of stuff on the Wii that is either underrated or
Yeah.
not talked about.
The
Yeah.
one problem though is that if it's an awesome game that was on the Wii, there's a very good chance it was on another console.
But a lot of the ones that are exclusives that, I mean, I'll stop here. We've talked
Yeah.
about the
Mario
I mean,
Galaxy.
Twilight Princess did get ported,
Yeah.
but it was originally on that and GameCube. Skyward Sword's exclusive.
Yeah.
Metroid Prime 3
3, yeah.
and Other M, even though that's debatable. But
yeah,
it's still a
Probably
high
better.
profile exclusive game.
Yeah.
Mario
Galaxy.
Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. New Super Mario Brothers. Was that
Yeah.
on DS as well? Or was that...
Yeah.
It started on DS, and then they made New Super Mario Brothers Wii, and
Yeah.
then they just didn't stop making them.
Okay.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, there's those.
There's Mario Kart Wii, which I know a lot of people love that game. That's
Yeah.
a really popular one.
No More Heroes 1 and 2.
Yeah,
the
those
first
are-
one did get ported to the PS3, but the second
Yeah,
one did
that's
not.
right. Yeah.
There's those. Mad World.
Yeah, I never played Mad World, but I would
Yeah.
like to.
And Red Steel 1 and 2. The first one's a bit iffy, but Red Steel 2 is underrated.
Yeah.
The Wii just has a ton of games, and some of them are better than others. You got a ton of, I would say most of the Nintendo. I would say Nintendo doesn't often put out a bad game. Like it's every once in a while one of them doesn't hit as hard as the next one.
The only one I would say is the Metroid Prime Federation Force.
Oh yeah, that game.
Yeah.
Was
Wasn't that
very-
like? Oh no! There was the Federation Force was like this multiplayer, like weird.
It's like a
multiplayer
4-player
Yeah.
like blast ball spin-off
Yeah.
for 3DS.
Yeah,
was
well,
weird.
there was the Federation Force, and then there was the sports like component of it.
Yeah.
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 They were in the same
Yeah,
thing.
in the same pack.
It was. Yeah.
Well, and then there's also people are debate Other M and whether or not Other M is a good game.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
still want to play it.
It looks.
but
Isn't it like more of an action game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a first-person shooter. I don't think.
Yeah. It's like a third-person, like kind of more action game. I don't know. I never played it,
Yeah.
but I think it's not so much that people don't like about it. It's the story.
Yeah. People don't like what they did with Samus.
Yeah, because like
Season one.
Samus has like all these like monologues of like.
I think she also kind of has like a couple of damsel in distress moments. People weren't a
Yeah,
fan of too.
there's
Yeah.
like that. Like she's taking orders, which is
Yeah.
like taking orders from like a guy. Like
Like
I
it's like
don't
her
know.
commanding officer or something.
yeah, like and people were like, doesn't Samus not take?
Yeah,
like,
Samus
isn't
is
she
also
a bounty
yeah,
hunter?
it's like she's
Yeah,
bounty
she's like
hunter.
this independent bounty hunter, and she
Yeah.
just kind of works on her own.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some weird stuff with the Metroid lore. I mean,
Yeah.
part of the problem is that like, Nintendo has been trying to do more and more like storylines in their games,
Mhm.
and I like that. I want more of that. It's kind of a hard transition though, because when the first Metroid game was literally like the only story aspect to it was that Samus turns out to be a girl in the end.
Yeah.
Like that's literally the only thing.
Unless you read the manual.
Yeah.
But it did. They did a Game Boy Advance remake that had more of a story in it.
yeah.
Yeah, Zero Mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Metroid Zero.
No, I mean,
Mission, which
really,
is-
Nintendo, their franchises, I'd love more stories with them. I don't
Yeah.
think Mario needs a story, other than the
Yeah.
basic premise.
I mean,
But, yeah.
nobody plays Mario games.
Can
for
we
the
can we
story.
get can we
Like,
get a Mario game where Luigi gets kidnapped?
Can we get a Mario game where Toad gets kidnapped?
Yes.
Yeah.
We should get a Mario game where like everybody except Peach gets kidnapped.
Yeah.
And then Peach has to do it, and she's like
Yeah.
recruiting characters along the. It's
Or
a Smash
how about-
Brothers.
Yeah.
How about a redemption arc where you play as Bowser saving Mario and Peach and everybody else?
Yes.
Well, I mean, Nintendo's kind of already done that. I mean, with like Mario getting like captured, and then like Luigi has to go find Luigi's
Yeah.
Mansion, which
yeah.
Well, and wasn't there one where...
Yeah.
There was a Mario RPG where it was like they were inside Bowser. Like,
Yeah,
they
Bowser's
were,
outside
the
story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
I'm
so
a big fan of the Mario RPGs.
Yeah.
I really enjoy.
They're pretty
those.
cool.
I'm surprised there isn't a Peach game.
I played.
Yeah. You know, that is a good point.
That is a good point. Why
Yeah.
haven't Peach has been playable in a lot of
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, but she
not-
hasn't had like
yeah.
her own game.
Yeah, I played. I think the only Mario RPG game I've played through was the time travel one with Baby Mario.
yeah,
Thousand Year Door
um,
or whatever.
When the like
No,
Partners
that was
in
a
Time.
Paper Mario game.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah.
Is that one like
See,
Partners in
there
Time
are
or
so
something?
many
Yeah,
Mario
Partners
games.
in Time.
I get so confused. I'm like,
Yeah,
which
gosh.
one is it?
Yeah, you have like not even just like, if you want to just talk about Mario RPG games,
Mhm.
there's Super Mario RPG.
Yeah, that was the original.
There are like 4 different Paper Mario games.
Yeah.
No, 5 probably.
Mm.
Maybe
There's a lot.
Mario has
Then
gone from
there's-
being a series
yeah.
to just being a brand.
Yeah,
Mario
it
is
is.
just a brand.
Oh yeah, then there's the Mario and Luigi RPGs,
Yeah.
which I really like.
Yeah,
those.
the Mario and Luigi RPG series.
I've
is
only
pretty
ever
cool.
played. I mean, like I've played some of the original
Yeah.
Mario Brothers. I mean, like, who hasn't?
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers, not Mario Brothers. But the only one I've actually played other than a couple levels of the original was Mario Galaxy 1.
Oh yeah.
Like, because, I mean, to me, I'm sure they're great, but to me, once I played Mario Galaxy, I was like, this is it. This is the peak of the series. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't need any more.
No.
Mario Galaxy is really good.
Super Mario Odyssey, I love.
Incredible.
I think it's my favorite Mario.
It may have been my 2017 game of the year if Breath of the Wild hadn't come out before that.
It's really in between like those two for me,
Yeah.
but it's hard.
2017.
to say.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that came out.
Yeah,
in
2017 is just like
It's
one
a
of my
great year.
favorite years for games.
Well, these last couple of years have had a lot of great games.
Yeah.
2018 was huge.
Yeah.
2019 has had a lot of big ones
Yeah.
too. And 2020 is going to be massive.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
2020 's
2020
insane.
is stacked. Like I thought 2019 was stacked mostly because of Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
But like 2020, man,
Yeah,
like
it's
look
gonna
at that lineup, dude.
Yeah.
Even just spring alone.
Yeah, two
But
big ones for me in 2020 is the Final Fantasy VII remake
So excited.
and Cyberpunk
No,
2077.
man, those are the two bigs for me. And then Last of Us 2. Having
Yeah,
just
yeah,
announced
Last
that.
of- I
February,
forgot, yeah.
February.
I'm excited for
20th,
that.
right?
That-
Yeah.
and there's one other big one we're forgetting, isn't there?
Oh, I
You're
there
right.
definitely is.
There's one that we're not naming. It's
Avengers comes out.
oh yeah, Avengers.
Yeah, Avengers.
And there's probably
Just gotta
something
get-
Resident Evil coming out next year. I don't know when,
Yeah.
but there's probably
Resident
something. coming
Evil.
out.
I mean, there's tons of stuff. That E3 that Microsoft E3 press conference. A lot of people didn't like it.
Mm.
I liked it mostly because there's just a ton of 2020 stuff coming
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
cool.
Yeah, like even like the new Dragon Ball game coming out, which
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
anime licensed games get kind of a bad rap sometimes.
Yeah.
This new Dragon Ball game
I think
coming out.
I think it looks kind of cool.
Yeah, it's
interesting.
going more for like an open world kind of
Yeah,
thing, and
yeah.
do it, and it's like spanning the entire Dragon
Yeah.
Ball.
Well, what I like
Z
about it is
arc.
it's like it's gonna be like the Xenoverse games,
yeah,
but it's kind of more focused on like
Yeah.
Goku and like
And
his whole story arc.
it's more like a real time RPG.
Yeah, where it's like it's
a-
more than just. I mean, I did like Xenoverse,
Yeah.
1 and 2, but it was really just battles. But
Yeah.
like this one, it's like you can actually like hunt and you can gather things.
There's a
and
fishing mini game.
there's a fishing. minigame.
A Japanese RPG is gonna be good when there's a fishing,
fishing
mini
minigame.
Heck yeah.
Well, that
Yes.
is our
That's-
2-hour mark.
Yes, that is the
Oh,
2-hour
boy.
mark.
Yeah.
Is there
Uh,
any final thoughts on the state of gaming you would like to address?
We trashed on it a little bit, but I think there's still a lot of cool stuff coming
Yeah,
out.
I think
and
so.
to write off gaming as a whole because a few publishers are making some really
Yeah.
bad decisions is
And-
a mistake.
And
Yeah.
I would say also, while I don't love the overly monetization, I still will support the developers. I don't
Yes.
support what the publishers
Yep,
are doing.
yeah.
But the devs are, like, for example, you may not like EA, but Respawn and DICE are still two great devs.
Yeah.
And I want to get their stuff. I will probably not buy them full price. Maybe
Yes.
Jedi Fallen Order because I really want to see the story. but,
Yeah.
like, I would
Yeah.
say, just keep in mind that behind these greedy publishers are also really great people working at really great devs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
This
that's
is
definitely
really
the best
good.
thing to take out of it.
Also,
And that just because it has microtransactions does not necessarily mean it'll be a wholly terrible game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect example being Middle Earth: Shadow of War.
Mm.
Even though
Yeah.
even though it had microtransactions, it still ended up being a really good
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
And then later they took them out too. So.
Sure.
And if you're looking for games that don't super monetize you, I would say most, if not all, of the JRPGs I've played in recent history
Yeah.
have not had gross monetization.
Yeah, I
They
think
they
yeah.
they have microtransactions and stuff.
I think a lot of the recent JRPGs have been pretty good.
Yeah.
And really,
So
if we're
it's
looking at
kinda
the state of
cool.
gaming, other than microtransactions and monetization, I would say really the only other major issue facing the gaming community could be some of the behavior of certain online groups.
Oh yes, well
Um,
that's facing literally
Yeah.
every industry, not just
that as well as
Joker has theaters banning costumes.
Yeah.
Like
I'm saying
this
like
is-
it's been going on in gaming since the beginning.
yeah.
That the Epic Game Store.
We grew up in the internet.
True.
Like,
The
this
Epic
is-
Game Store is a big one. I personally, I'll just say real quickly, I get not wanting to transfer over to the Epic Game Store, especially since they don't have as many features as Steam. However, Valve has gotten incredibly complacent in Steam.
Yes.
They have barely updated everything. It's
Yeah.
basically just become, we don't have to do anything because we're the default.
Yeah.
It's good that they have some challenge to that now.
No,
Yes.
I'm totally there.
Competition
with it,
is
yeah.
great for the industry,
I don't
and if you
disagree.
wanted Valve to just have a complete monopoly, like I've had people tell me that they're against Disney because they have a monopoly, but they only use Steam. I'm like, you do realize the irony there, right?
Yeah.
So it was,
It is
and
a
also
problem.
if you really wanted to buy a game on Epic, you don't even have to use their launcher. You can just add the game to your library on Steam and
Yeah.
launch it through Steam.
Yeah,
like
that's
you
great.
can do it just the
Yeah.
same way. Like, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe it's a little bit, few less features,
Yeah.
but
And
still.
there's a couple. There's like two extra hoops you have to jump through, making
Yeah.
an account for Epic and then buying the game on there instead of buying it on Steam.
Yeah.
You still can play it. You can still put it on a different store.
Mm.
And I know you're like, oh, I don't like the launchers. I don't like the launchers either. But at least you give Valve a little bit of competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But-
so
Other than
Yeah.
the Epic Game Store and monetization, I think gaming's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
No, I think so. I think
making money.
there's a lot.
I would say developers are kind of going through hard times in terms of like workflow.
Yeah.
Like that. Like
And crunch. Crunch
yeah,
is a big
crunch
problem, too.
is a
Yeah.
big problem in games right now. But you know, people who are smarter than us
Are gonna-
about workers' rights are going to
Well,
take care
and
of
that's the thing that's good about this show is we're just the regular people.
Yes.
We're just the nerds talking about stuff they like.
Yes.
We're not business analysts. We're
Yeah.
not
activists.
we're not activists. We're not analysts. We're not developers or anything.
Mm.
Yep.
We do make movies, but
That's
we're not.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Lucas, thank you so much for
No,
coming
thanks
on.
for having me. I had a great time.
You're the first new guest. Not because
Since Taylor.
it would have been since 2018.
Yeah.
Because Taylor guested in November of last year, I think.
Yes.
So you're the
Okay.
first new guest in a year.
Well, cool.
It's not
Yeah.
counting. I mean, well, Caleb came back, but he's
Yeah,
not
Caleb,
a new
Caleb's
guest.
not a
Yeah.
new guest, yes.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
we have more new guests
Yeah.
lined up.
We've already got someone lined up for
The 11th, I
the
believe.
yes, I believe so 2 weeks from today,
Yes. Yes.
and it's the first female guest we've had since Taylor in a year.
In a year.
In a year, yeah.
Yes.
So-
And hopefully, Lucas, you can come back on at
Oh,
some point.
I would
Yeah.
definitely love to come back on.
Yeah. So,
Well,
with that, Sawyer, can you rattle off our social medias?
So, as you all know, I have trouble remembering all this stuff, so let's see if I can get this all good. We are at CastKate, at CISTCATE on Twitter, because we could not get rid of our old handle, but you can find us just by looking up the Lab Rats Entertainment Podcast on Twitter. We are at the Lab Rats Podcast on Instagram, and if you're looking for the podcast, you can find us wherever you're listening now, as well as on Podbean, Stitcher, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast / Google Play, whatever it's called, Spotify, and YouTube.
That's all.
Okay.
That's everything. Hopefully, we're not forgetting one that you're listening on right now.
And if there's any other platforms you want us to be on, please let us know, because
Yes.
I am adding as many platforms as I can.
Yes. Podbean lets us do that.
Podbean lets us put it
That's
on
pretty cool.
wherever we want.
Go Podbean. We're not even being paid
Yeah.
to say
We're
that.
not even sponsored yet.
So, with that, bye.
Bye.